It's between 5 and 8 feet with strong rip currents as well. Beaches in Porter and Lake counties, again, are covered by the same warning that is blanketing Chicago beaches. By the way, this year there have already been 20 drownings on the Great Lakes, half of which have been in Lake Michigan. Chicago police are questioning 2 people after shots were fired at officers in the North Lawndale neighborhood. Authorities say the incident happened last night near 13th and South Troy. Suspects drove off, leading police on a chase until they were arrested on Pulaski Road just off I-55. No officers were wounded. Mayor Emanuel defending his new police reform platform that includes no supervision by a federal judge. Mayor signed an agreement in January stating he would seek federal court oversight of the reform process. Now he wants to sign a memorandum of understanding or agreement with President Trump's Justice Department that would include an independent monitor of the city's police department. 1 man is in custody following a bank robbery on Chicago's southwest side. The FBI says the man robbed the BMO Harris branch yesterday near 64th and Pulaski. The suspect was later arrested. An investigation is underway after a man was found dead in Montgomery. The victim discovered yesterday inside a home in the 1900 block of Waverly Way. Officers spotted 1 bullet hole and a broken window when they arrived at that home. A Chicago trader is heading to prison for 1 year after stealing secrets to begin his own competing trading firm. 34-year-old David Newman admitted stealing 400,000 files of trading software that his employer, WH Trading, had developed over 15 years. Former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich will not get a rehearing. Former governor was convicted in 2011 of misusing his power. He was accused of trying to auction off a U.S. Senate seat that was vacated in 2008 when Barack Obama became president. Yesterday, the 7th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals rejected Blagojevich's rehearing request. The U.S. Supreme Court is now his only chance to get his corruption conviction overturned. Illinois public school parents have been left in the dark about a new science curriculum because the state has not followed through with statewide exams. Officials switched over to the next generation science standards in 2014. The state did not give an exam in 2015 and then did not release results of the test given in 2016. A union representing taxi drivers in Chicago says the city needs to make changes in order to help a dying industry. Cab Drivers United says city officials have not done enough to help drivers compete in the era of ride sharing. Chris Bryant, a 2-run bomb in the first. Cubs went on to down the Marlins 3-1, backing Eddie Butler to his 3rd victory. White Sox open up a 3-game road series with the Rays this evening. The Stanley Cup final tied at 2 games apiece following the Predators' 4-1 win over the Penguins in Nashville. The news, a service of NTB. Get your 5-quart conventional oil change today, just $19.99 plus $3 disposal fee. For tires, oil service, and repairs, National Tire and Battery. That's all you need. 5:06 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Anarchists taking to the streets. Hollywood more vocal than ever. Maxine Waters, Nancy Pelosi, and Chuck Schumer making baseless accusations on a daily basis.
And again, the facts are what are important.
And the press has lost all objectivity, responsibility, and quite possibly their minds. One thing is for certain. We must be doing something right. Keep calm and listen. AM 560, The Answer.
A good parking lot is essential to a good building and a good business.
This is Kevin Berquist. My company is SKC Construction, home of GreatParkingLots.com. Great parking lots. The name says it all. We make your parking lot great. We are an industry leader in seal coating. You can trust our company to do the work for your company. We have the same traditional values as you. We use a process and application that makes sure you get a great job that lasts a long time. I guarantee you'll have a good experience. Go to our website, greatparkinglots.com. Check it out, greatparkinglots.com.
Go to greatparkinglots.com. Schedule a free inspection and get a quote to make your parking lot a great parking lot. Save the expense. Fix, don't replace. Contact SKC Construction now for commercial parking lot seal coating and maintenance. SKC Construction, home of greatparkinglots.com. greatparkinglots.com.
Change in the market shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. In fact, since World War II, we've seen a correction on average about once every 18 months. That's why Arlington Capital Management developed proprietary tools that help them to see what's beyond your investment horizon. Like an experienced ship captain uses tools to avoid stormy weather, Arlington Capital Management uses tools to guide you through market corrections before it's too late and help us decide when to capitalize on opportunity. Call Arlington Capital Management today at 855-471-5796 to learn how their active management systems can help you. Each day, they actively explore the market, our economy, and all the variables that affect your investments. Stormy markets never cloud their vision. The professionals at Arlington Capital Management use their tools and experience to guide them. Call Arlington Capital Management today at 855-471-5796 for a financial review. The number again is 855-471-5796 or learn more at arlington-capital.com.
5:08. Let's get a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. And we welcome back in Jim Talamonte.
Good morning, Mike. On Chicago's south side, we've got a fire at 78th and Union. This is at an abandoned building, we're told, but streets are blocked. Buses are being rerouted in that area, the 79th Street buses. Northbound I-55, traffic still a little bit heavy in the area around 355. Overnight road work has cleared out of the two left lanes. Southbound work has cleared as well, so traffic's flowing nicely there. Elsewhere on the expressways and tollways, pretty quiet right now. A little road work on the outbound Ryan 87th split, the two left lanes. There was work on the Stevenson at Lakeshore Drive. That's clear. The other ramp closures have all been taken care of. Everything's reopened. Traffic is a service of Firestone Complete Auto Care. Firestone Complete Auto Care is celebrating 90 years of keeping cars running newer, longer. Stop by your local Firestone Complete Auto Care. Get up to $100 off any purchase of $500 or more. See store or driveafirestone.com for details. driveafirestone.com. Whatever you drive a Firestone. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center with our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Today mostly sunny and breezy, high 74. Tonight a moonlit sky, low 54. Sunshine for much of the day tomorrow, high 75, and a clear night, low 53. Partly sunny Thursday, high 79. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
55 at O'Hare, 56 Midway. Your next news update is at 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Kelly Financial Services, helping you secure your financial future today. Visit kellyfinancialservicesinc.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So, two of the three terrorist names were released yesterday. Talking about the terrorist attackers in London, of course. One was Known Wolf.
Known Wolf?
Yeah, I mean, authorities knew who he was.
Oh yeah. Oh, this is are we starting with the 27-year-old Butt, the guy born in Pakistan who is a British citizen, last name Butt, the reality TV star, starred in The Jihadist Next Door. Actually watched a few episodes of it. Did you see it?
This was a Channel 4 documentary in Britain. The jihadist, what's Jihadist Next Door?
Mm-hmm. The Jihadist Next Door.
And listen to the inimitable Mark Stein on the topic. He was on Fox and Friends yesterday morning.
So he's basically up for a posthumous Emmy nomination for Best Jihadist in a British Extremism documentary. This is a ridiculous way of allowing yourself to be hollowed out by these people.
But Mark, what you could do, Mark? Yeah, I'd say it's a rather stunning development, and it's going to be very interesting to see, just on a political note for a moment, how this impacts Thursday's national election. Theresa May, we mentioned this yesterday. We need to mention it again. She was the Home Secretary before she was Prime Minister. And boy, oh boy, the fact that this guy was on the radar of MI5 and that he appeared in a documentary. And if you watch clips of the documentary.
He's holding a black flag. It's not the official ISIS flag, but it's a spinoff of the ISIS flags, black with cryptic writing on it. And he's with other people and they're praying in front. It looks like a cemetery in a park.
Yeah.
But it's not only that, he also got kicked out of his mosque. Richard Engel from NBC News caught up with the imam.
Why was he kicked out?
Because he is suspect.
To be extreme?
To be extreme.
The neighbors saw him always gathering the children around. He was trying to radicalize them.
They don't look right to me. They look that they're radicalizing the kids.
So he'd go to parks where the kids were, and he'd...
And one of the parents reported him as talking about Islam to the kids, and
that's
fear
the woman
that
who
he
reported him.
Right. And so, but now one point there, that he was kicked out of his mosque. So let's just take judicial notice of that.
Yes.
So that, there are peaceful pluralist Muslims who didn't want somebody radicalized, preaching hate, potentially going down a path to a terrorist attack in their mosque. That's the good news. The bad news is that first of all, the documentary, The Jihadist Next Door, and filming these guys praying to the terrorist black flag in a park.
Well, yeah, they belong to a group that they campaign for Sharia law. That might be a little bit of a problem. And I have a new theory. If you get kicked out of a mosque, you should also be kicked out of the country. 312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line. 64636, type in DA, then a quick comment. Because that says something. If the people that you pray with, your own kind, think that you're too radicalized, that you want something that the country code doesn't because they do not recognize Sharia law in the UK, then there might be a problem there. Maybe you need to go back to Pakistan.
If you get kicked out of your mosque for being a threat to public safety, effectively.
Yeah. Or trying to impose Sharia law in a country that doesn't observe or recognize Sharia law. But also, there's more. Are you ready for this? This is what I learned early this morning. He also worked on the tube, and he had access, this guy Butt, who was on the radar.
He's a security guard.
Security guard, yes, but for the tunnels underneath the parliament. I mean, come on. If he's even on there's 23,000 people, I guess, on their radar. 3,000 are at the top of the list. How could he get clearance to have access to the parliament? I mean, who's sleeping at the wheel here?
Well, he also apparently that the Times is reporting across the pond, Times, that he was connected to a key contact of Mohammed Sadiq Khan, who was one of the suicide bombers, the 7/7 attacks that killed 52 people in the UK, as well as Anjem Choudhury, who's one of Europe's most notorious hate-preaching imams. So he's under investigation by MI5. He's connected to these individuals who have already carried out terrorist attacks more than a decade ago. I mean, at least he's in that web. He's on this documentary. I mean, I understand that we don't want to go down the path to thought crimes, but I just would love, I mean, and I know we're not going to get it from MI5, but more detail on exactly what they knew about him beyond what's been reported and how they made a threat assessment on this individual. That's the thing, and I'm not necessarily being critical here because I think it's easy to Monday morning quarterback these things. Short of doing something Nigel Farage mentioned on Fox and Friends over the weekend, which is really a dangerous path to go down, and I'll get to that in a second. But I just the threat assessment, and I'm not law enforcement, I'm not intelligence, I don't have that background. The threat assessment is what's interesting to me. When not this whole kind of like, hey, people slip through the cracks. We got only so many resources in terms of personnel and infrastructure. we can't track everybody. We can't focus our attention for information gathering on everybody equally. Okay, fine. But this guy seems to have filled a lot of buckets, if you will.
In the episode
how they make that threat assessment.
In the episode of the Jihadi Next Door that I watched, so in the park they're praying, and then they're confronted by police. And in the documentary, they show, an hour goes by, and they're still being, police are still talking to them, and then they let him go. So that was, I guess, the only time they said that that's the reason why he was placed on the big list.
Well, I mean, and again, these things, I just want to pause here because it's easy to start pointing fingers everywhere. All 12 of the people that were arrested over the weekend were released yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how to assess that.
Neighborhood in East London in that apartment complex.
Now, Nigel Farage over the weekend, you want to hear something? I mean, this path that we're going down, potentially, some people are raising the specter. This is concerning.
The mood that I get now is we want some real action. We don't just want speeches given outside number 10 Downing Street. We want genuine action. And if there is not action, then the calls for internment will grow. We have over 3,000 people on a sort of known terrorist list, and we're watching and monitoring their activities, but a further 20,000 people, who are persons of interest, namely they're linked in some way to extremist organizations. And unless we see the government getting tough, you will see public calls for those 3,000 to be arrested. And I'm not sure that is the right approach, because the big danger with that is we might alienate decent, fair-minded Muslims in Britain. But whatever happens, we do need action.
Well,
they had to do something to get on the list.
Well, you may. Let's note our experience in this country on the no-fly list.
Oh yeah,
Stephen Hayes, Weekly Standard reporter, for example. It's more than you may alienate moderate Muslims who are otherwise allies. You may wrongly intern somebody who is not a terrorist or a terrorist threat. I understand the list, but the degrees of separation by which somebody can get on the list for review, for some investigation, and subsequently be cleared and removed from the list. You really want to go down the path of internment camps or internment? No. You do not want to do that. And there's Nigel Farage saying that may not be the right thing to do. It's not the right thing to do. That is not the right thing to do.
Well, what else are they going to do?
Europe may have lost its mind with...
It's lost control of its country.
Right. So they lost their mind by allowing people in that they didn't know why they were coming, as well as in other parts of Western Europe, these kind of no-go zones and so forth, where the rule of law has been suspended.
Ugh.
So the first thing you can do is, as Mark Stein and others have said, well, stop importing people that mean to do you harm.
Right.
This is the whole temporary travel ban issue in our country, where we're talking about making sure we understand who's coming and why they're coming.
And it's not a travel ban.
A temporary. Right,
temporary.
It's a halt.
Pause.
You have to knock on the door and ask permission to come into somebody's home.
Right.
It's not
and we
that
have to know what your
complicated.
intentions are. I mean, really. And they could smile, and lie to you, but at least it would give us time to take a look to see their family history, or their personal history. I don't know.
But you do not want to go down the list of rounding people up off of a list and interning them indefinitely.
In the no-go zones, haven't they interned
suspect.
themselves in the no-go zones? I mean, they've created their own communities with their own Sharia law. They don't listen. Like in Sweden, there's 3 of them.
Well, that's an entirely different thing. Number one, that's a voluntary self-segregation, if you will. Number two, the fact that there are these no-go zones is a failure of civilian political authorities in those countries. So if they would stop failing, that would help. Grant in Rockford, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
The mosque thing where the people, where they kicked him out for being radicalized. As far as I'm concerned, that's why people have problems with the quote-unquote moderate Muslim population of the world. They did nothing. They knew everything. They saw this guy was a problem. They did nothing. Internment camps, that's not the solution. But you know what? you port them back to the third world hellhole they came from. And the London mayor, the blood is on his hands. He's not solely responsible for it, but he's not the solution. And when he, I'm sorry, but this whole thing is just it's maddening. So you guys have a good day.
Thanks for the call, Grant.
And quickly, can we listen? Yeah. This is the Metropolitan Police Chief. Her name is Saridra Dick, and she even mentions how their hands are tied. They need more resources.
We do have literally thousands, in fact, tens of thousands of people who we would regard as subjects of interest.
Yeah.
Well, right. I mean, Farage mentioned 3,000, but then
there's
23,000 additional. So right.
I mean, that's a lot of people.
David in Lake Forest.
Morning. I'm just really surprised that the British, of all folks, would be considering internment after what happened in Northern Ireland in the early 1970s when the violence broke out there, and that it helped create a generation of young men who did join the IRA because of the internment, because it was purely on sectarian grounds that the British did that.
Yeah, you're right.
Good point.
Good point. Good historical compare. Thanks, David.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
White lace shorts are back. Dan's going to explain later in the show. But first, here's your forecast. Plenty of sunshine today. Breezy, a pleasant high of 74 degrees. Tonight, a moonlit sky. Doesn't that sound nice? And then tomorrow, sunny most of the time and pleasant again, a high of 75 degrees. Let's go into our alarm detection systems traffic center. Is Jim Talamonte here?
Yes. Good morning,
welcome
Amy.
Back.
Thank you, Amy. Good morning, Dan. Things are kind of heavy now on inbound I-57 as traffic builds for the morning rush there. Got delays from 103rd to the merge, 21 minutes from I-80 to the Rhine, Bishop Ford at 18 minutes, and the Rhine's a little sluggish, 18th into downtown. Inbound Stevenson has delays, Harlem to Central, and from past the Rhine to Lakeshore Drive, 38 minutes, 3:55 to the drive. The other expressways and tollways are good as the overnight work is pretty much gone. There is a fire on Chicago's south side at 78th and Union, and what we're told is an abandoned building. Some streets have been blocked around that area. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Upstream-ideas.com premium content that complements what we do each morning on this show. Long-form interviews in our Against the Current series. This week featuring newly minted State Senator Dan McConchie out of the greater Lake County area. Also, Man on the Street, Follow the Logic segments, 60 Seconds of Sanity. This week, mine is about the Paris Accord. Podcast of our Illinois Rising program, which covers state politics and policy. We'll continue our discussion on the budget impasse as we move into the supermajority time period in terms of the General Assembly's threshold to get a budget deal done and the governor to sign it. And dollars and cents commentaries, as well as 2-minute warnings about bad actors in public office. It's all at upstream-ideas.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. I went from being able to work 14, 16 hours a day with no problem to where I could barely walk a block to the store. I went on to the phytonutrients about 6 months ago, and within a couple of months, my medical doctor had cut my prescriptions down in a little bit smaller dosage. The next time I went back a month later, I walked into the doctor's office and he says, "My gosh, what's happened to you? You don't even look like the same person." He looked at my legs and the swelling had gone down. My blood pressure was down. The venous stasis ulcers that I had had on my legs for the last 4 or 5 years because of the poor circulation were all healed, and I'm feeling far better.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free. And we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-246-8751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
Birthdays, weddings, graduations, well, it never ends. So don't stress out about giving the perfect gift. Never go to a party empty-handed when ChicagoRadioDeals.com is just a click away. You can purchase and print a gift certificate the same day. Here's an idea. Give a $100 gift certificate to Zembard Jewelers, the new Lenox. Here's the deal. You only pay $50 to buy that $100 gift. Most deals on ChicagoRadioDeals.com are half the retail price. So give the gift of dance with private and group lessons from Fred Astaire Dance Studio in Burr Ridge, or the gift of music in the form of a drum kit, guitar, or digital piano for Midlothian Music. Visit ChicagoRadioDeals.com today for instant gifts you need to give this weekend. Dinners, tickets to live music, comedy, Lake Michigan cruises, bed and breakfast, overnight stays in Milwaukee and Door County, spa treatments, and much, much more. Find it all at ChicagoRadioDeals.com.
If you have pain, listen up, Dennis Prager here. You don't need to live in pain. Let me repeat that. You don't have to live in pain. Chronic pain is the worst, whether it's from an accident or pain that just develops. So Chicagoland, you're in luck. Dr. Ken Candido is one of the nation's most respected and successful pain doctors. He's been voted one of Chicago's best pain doctors several times. Bottom line, he's the pain doctor you need. Dr. Candido of Chicago Anesthesia and Pain Specialists will help you get off pain medication and all of its side effects. How? By finding the source of your chronic pain and fixing it.
This is Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. Let's make you pain-free.
Call Dr. Ken Candido and make an appointment with a cutting-edge, respected, and successful pain physician. Go to mypainchicago.com. That's mypainchicago.com. Thousands have been helped with their chronic pain, and you can be the next one. Get the phone number and all the info you need at mypainchicago.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, Mark Stein had another good point, too, about the importance of symbolism, that the radical Islamic terrorists understand the importance of symbolism, and we've seen that play out over and over again in their attacks, starting with 9/11, in terms of the power of symbolism and their focus on that. He made that point when he appeared on Fox and Friends yesterday.
I think that's actually a very good example, Ainsley, because they understand the symbolic power of it in a way that we don't. They understand that London Bridge isn't just some bridge across some crummy, dirty, muddy river. Right. It has symbolic power, in the same way that, in a different sense, the Ariana Grande thing does. And they're serious. They've declared war on us. And we keep saying, no, you can declare war on us all you like. We're not treating it as a war.
Yeah, so, the second part is part of the discussion we've been having for some time now in terms of we're pretending that they don't really mean it. If we get them jobs.
That's what President Obama suggested. If we get ISIS members jobs.
They need jobs.
In Syria, then it'll stop.
That terrorist is just a friend you haven't made yet. And you hear from the left, you see these think pieces and these left outlets like Slate. This is heteropatriarchal. It's not about religion, it's about men. Okay. But the importance of symbolism, they pick targets that are symbols for their larger war on the West, and frankly, freedom is one that shouldn't be overlooked as well.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer. So who is this NSA leaker?
Well, one leak got plugged.
Well, here's a hint. She might still be on her parents' insurance. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Good morning, everyone. 57 and clear skies in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage Warranty. Well, there's high waves and water this morning along Chicago beachfront properties and along northwest Indiana beaches as well, too. National Weather Service says it will be a hazardous day on the lake. Wave heights near 8 feet with strong rip currents. One of the men who killed 7 and injured dozens more in the terror attack in London over the weekend is this morning being linked to a Muslim imam in Dearborn, Michigan. Shaikh Ahmad Musa Jibril is very popular on YouTube with ISIS militants. In this morning's Daily Telegraph in London reports neighbors of Qaum Shahzad Butt says he listened to a lot of Jibril's messages. The Justice Department says they're charging a woman for leaking classified information to the media. Reality Lee Winner was arrested by the FBI Saturday. She's accused of leaking an NSA report to a website that detailed Russia's attempts to hack the U.S. voting system. President Trump says it is time to bring U.S. air travel into the future. During a White House event, the president proposed a plan to privatize the U.S. air traffic control system.
For too many years, our country has tolerated unacceptable delays at the airport, long wait times on the tarmac, and a slowing of commerce and travel that costs us billions and billions of dollars.
He says the system is badly outdated and costs the nation more in just dollars, but in delays and cancellations. Relations are growing tense this morning, apparently, between Jeff Sessions and President Donald Trump. White House sources tell the New York Times that Trump blames his attorney general for his lack of success in defending his executive order restricting travel to 7 majority Muslim countries earlier this year. One of the attorneys challenging President Trump's travel ban is thanking the president for his so-called help. Attorney Neil Katyal says Trump didn't do himself or his lawyers any favors when he began tweeting yesterday about his travel ban.
It's really undercut the rationale for the ban, the rationale for the whole legal defense, and it's a real problem.
The White House has been arguing that the move to halt some travel from those Muslim-majority nations isn't a ban after it was blocked in court. Chicago police are questioning 2 after shots were fired at officers in the North Lawndale neighborhood. The incident happened last night near 13th and South Troy. No officers were wounded. One man is in custody following a bank robbery on Chicago's southwest side. It happened at a BMO Harris branch near 64th and Pulaski. An investigation is underway after a man was found dead in Montgomery. The victim discovered yesterday inside a home in the 1900 block of Waverly Way. Illinois lawmakers are calling for a constitutional convention to deal with issues like the budget impasse. Representative Tim Butler of Springfield introduced a resolution on the final day of the spring session. If approved, a question would be added to the 2018 general election ballot, asking people in Illinois if a state constitutional convention should be called. Eddie Butler improves to 3-1 as the Cubs down the Marlins 3-1. Thad Matta is out as Ohio State head men's basketball coach. They included 13 seasons and a run that included 2 Final Four appearances. The news service of Back to School Illinois, providing school supplies for children in need. And you can help by making a donation at any neighborhood currency exchange or at b2si.org. Back to School Illinois, working to improve educational opportunities for Illinois children, b2si.org. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher believes the Trump administration needs to fix the leak.
Let's take a moment to talk about these leaks, because there's somebody or bodies within the Trump administration who want to do them in. There's no question about this. It's felonious to leak a lot of the information that has been leaked to the media over the first few months of the Trump presidency.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, roasted fresh daily in Batavia, Illinois.
When you think about spring, what comes to mind? Baseball, tulips, spring cleaning? How about cleaning up your home? Hi, Amy Jacobson here to tell you about our good friends at CertaPro Painters. Spring has arrived, and it's a great time to focus on your exterior painting. Don't deny how ugly it is. You know, the chipping, peeling, eyesore of a front porch. So do what I did and call CertaPro Painters now. 1-800-GO-CERTA or visit CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. They really are the best in the business. They're clean, responsible, talented. They increased our property values. They're such a top-notch company. They've been around for 25 years and counting. So do what I did and experience the CertaPro difference. 1-800-GO-CERTA or CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. CertaPro Painters, we do painting, you do life.
5:36, time to check the climate of your business with aircomfort.com, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Let's get a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The Edens and the Kennedy are clear right now. Inbound Eisenhower, I've got a little bit of congestion around 17th Avenue, so prepare for a brief tap of the brakes. Inbound Stevenson, scattered delays start around Lamont Road. It's 40 minutes from 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 5 to 34. Inbound Ryan, 19 minutes, 95th to downtown. Outbound 15, I-57, 27 minutes from I-80 to the merge. Bishop 423. No tollway delays to report. Northwest Indiana is looking good. And traffic is a service of Napa Auto Parts. This month at participating Napa Auto Parts stores, the rugged Bluetooth speaker with 24-hour battery life is just $29.99. That's right, now you can have the freedom to play music wherever you please for just $29.99, while supplies last. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Sunny, breezy, pleasant, high of 74. A moonlit sky overnight, low of 54. Currently, we have sunrise and 55 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Empowered Investing, the show dedicated to investors. Heard Saturdays at noon right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Oh, Christopher Cross.
Oh, love it.
Yeah.
It's been a while, huh?
I love Christopher Cross.
Right.
And I'm completely comfortable with my sexuality to say that. It's not,
Why
it's
is
not a
Christopher
problem.
Cross?
Christopher Cross, no, but I mean, he's, a big guy with that high voice, but he's great.
Where
Love that
is he?
guy.
I want to hear him singing.
Come on, man. Moon over New York City? Get out of here.
This instrumental hook is going on a little too long for me. I'm jumpy. I want to hear his lyrics. Come on, baby, sing it.
All right, think we're gonna make it.
I can't get that high.
I can't get that high because I'm
That's
transitioning.
why he's Christopher Cross. You're not. Oh, boy.
Oh, that was...
Yeah.
Clearly, I've lost my head
You're
voice
not
this
gonna be
morning.
one of the Christopher Cross harmonizers. Okay, how about this story? Kind of a combo story. The Intercept, theintercept.com, gets a NSA report detailing Russian hacking efforts days before the 2016 election. Russian military intelligence executed a cyber attack on at least one U.S. voting software supplier and sent spear phishing emails to more than 100 local election officials just days before the election. This is a report that was obtained by The Intercept, and I think I know how they got it. Because
where did it come from, Dan?
In a related story, 25-year-old woman who stole top-secret documents from the NSA and leaked them to The Intercept has been arrested. Her name is Reality Lee Winner.
I mean, her name sounds like a Hollywood character, doesn't it?
It's a real name.
But she's 25 years old. I mean, she technically could still be on her parents' insurance. That's how young she is.
Steve on 88, her stripper name is Creased Lightning.
I don't think you need a stripper name if your name is Reality Lee Winner. Winning.
Not anymore. She's not winning because she's facing some serious charges and potentially some serious jail time. She is an employee of a federal defense contractor that had the clearance to obtain these documents. She's also pretty hard left, and this may have been the impetus for her to obtain improperly and leak improperly these documents. She, a little pouring through of her social media offerings includes Kanye West, you should make a T-shirt that says being white is terrorism. She has complimentary things to say about Bernie Sanders, appears to be kind of a Bernie Sanders supporter, a part of the resistance. She referred to Trump as a piece of Shiite because of his position on the Dakota Access Pipeline protests. Boy, maybe when she gets out of prison, she'll get a show on CNN.
Well, she was picked up in Georgia on Saturday, and according to CNN, the NSA report that was dated May 5th provides details of a 2016 Russian military intelligence cyber attack on a U.S. voting software supplier. So and there's pages of information, and she leaked one page of that document.
So the other interesting thing about this, well, there's a couple of things. One is that going after leakers, which they should.
Yep.
Number two is the underlying report runs counter to what President Obama and Loretta Lynch said about the 2016 election. Remember, Loretta Lynch famously proclaimed that after review, there was no indication that Russia was able to, or even attempted to, hack any of the local election jurisdictions and in any way influence the outcome of the election. Now, this effort, this report about the effort, the cyber attack by Russian military intelligence, doesn't say in what direction it was intended, doesn't say if there's any evidence if it achieved any sort of success, but it was efforted, of course, and that runs a little bit counter to what we heard from Vlad Putin in that riveting, probing interview that your former intern Megyn Kelly did of the Russian autocrat.
It wasn't that bad. I mean, it wasn't that bad. Also, too, prosecutors say that when they confronted Winner on Saturday, she admitted that she intentionally leaked the classified document, and she was one of 6 people who printed that document.
She apparently was not paying attention to how Hillary Clinton handles these things.
No, she wasn't.
You don't admit that. You lawyer up. You call John Podesta. You have Robbie Mook come in and spokes being it for you a little bit, message it for you a little bit. Because that takes a lot of the guesswork out of it when you admit your guilt when the feds show up.
She had email contact with that news outlet, that website you're speaking of. Is that a reliable source?
It seems to be, and this seems to be a reliable story, and they do report that they confirmed it, was provided anonymously to The Intercept and independently authenticated. So, and by the way, her arrest would also seem to authenticate.
Right, and she faces 10 years in prison for this, so.
So here's Putin over the weekend with your friend and protege, really.
Oh, yeah, right.
Megyn Kelly. It wasn't Russian military intelligence. You know who this was? Putin's got a pet conspiracy theory of his own.
There is a theory that Kennedy's assassination was arranged by the United States intelligence services. So if this theory is correct, and that can't be ruled out, then what could be easier in this day and age than using all the technical means at the disposal of the intelligence services and using those means to organize some attacks and then pointing the finger at Russia?
It's pretty cagey of Putin to want to relitigate the Kennedy assassination.
Are you talking about the grassy knoll?
Yeah, I look forward to the Putin-Oliver Stone collaboration on that topic. Putin went on to say no evidence.
They have been misled, and they aren't analyzing the information in its entirety. I haven't seen even once any direct proof of Russian interference in the presidential election in the United States.
Well, that's because when his underlings try and give it to him, he says, I'm not looking. I'm not looking. That's willful blindness is not the same thing as not seeing any evidence. And then Putin, of course, saying, we don't need to hack.
We don't even have to do that. Presidents come and go, and even the parties in power change. But the main political direction does not change. That's why, in the grand scheme of things, we don't care who's the head of the United States. We know more or less what is going to happen.
I'm just reading on about Winter's mother said that her daughter's touch and go right now, that she's trying to be brave for her parents. They said that her daughter wasn't especially political. I disagree.
That appears not to be the case based on her social media alone.
And has never praised past leakers like Edward Snowden. Quote, she's never even given me any kind of indication that she was in favor of all that. I don't know how to explain this. They said she was in the military for 6 years and she speaks Farsi. And she's been with her current company now since 2017.
Well, on her social media, she is...
Parents don't look at their kids' social media.
Well, a lot of people are now.
Yeah.
And she refers to Trump's tiny hands. She called him an orange fascist and a C word. She's got a little potty mouth on her. Yeah. This is why I think either a CNN show or future DNC chairman, one of the two for her. She also said the selection of Confederate General Jeff Sessions amounts to racism. That would be
Jeff Sessions is leading the investigation into her.
Well, prosecution.
Prosecution.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Boy, how
Be careful with the words that you choose when you leak classified information.
How the worm has turned on young Miss Reality Lee Winner. Reality indeed.
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
It's not political. Forecast for today, plenty of sunshine, just another gorgeous day, breezy, a high of 74. Tonight, a moonlit sky. And then tomorrow, plenty of sunshine, just a repeat of today, a high of 75. Let's get into our alarm detection systems. Traffic Center, and welcome back, Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. Good morning. Morning, Dan. In Doug Kennedy, a little heavy now out of the River Road Toll to Harlem. 22 minutes O'Hare to downtown. Still fine at 20 outbound. The Edens is clear. The Eisenhower got a 5-minute delay right now from Manheim to First Avenue. Stevenson's gotten a heavy. Delay started 53, then it is an hour from 355 to Lakeshore Drive, 47 minutes from the Tri-State. Outbound 5. Ryan, 20 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 30 minutes, I-80 to the merge. Bishop 423. North on Tri-State slow from Holstead to before Dixie Highway. There's a crash in the 2 right lanes. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Hey, looking to secure financing on a new home? Then you need to do what I did and call David Hochberg to get approved to purchase a home before speaking with a realtor. Other lenders will pre-approve or pre-qualify you, which are worthless, whereas David will approve you to purchase a home. David will approve you, all in capital letters, to purchase a home so you'll know exactly what you can afford. With a Team Hochberg loan approval, your offer will stand out because you'll be able to close within 10 business days of signing a contract. As long as there's no appraisal or title change and the condo is warrantable if purchasing a condo, a Team Hochberg approval is the next best thing to a cash offer. Submitting a contract with a Team Hochberg loan approval will stand out from the other offers unless the other buyers have a Team Hochberg approval letter. Now, to secure your loan approval, call David right now, 312-751-1333, or visit am560david.com. David helped me and thousands of AM 560 listeners, but he can't help you if you don't call. 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage and Equal Housing Lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage Licensee, 4358 NMLS 19186.
Did you know that if you have mutual funds in your IRA, 401k, or investment accounts, that according to Forbes magazine, you could be paying as much as 3.17% in hidden fees every single year? 3.17% may not sound like much, but over 10 years, it's costing you 32%, whether your fund is up or down. Hi, it's Tom Fortino of the Alpha Wealth Group in Chicago and host of the Alpha Wealth Hour on AM 560. This is just one of the reasons I hate mutual funds, and you should too. You may not know this, but you have far more investment options today without the excessive fees. Learn what they are in my free report, The Truth Behind Mutual Funds. What you learn may shock you. To get your free report, The Truth Behind Mutual Funds, call 630-519-4742. There's no obligation. That's 630-519-4742.
Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Wealth Advisors, Inc.
If your roof is needy, if your roof is leaky,
Call Grumweedy.
if your roof isn't right after it's stormy and shingles are curly,
Call Grumweedy.
If your roof is looking needy, call Crumweedy. This is Mark Olson of Crumweedy.
And I'm Greg Olson from Crumweedy. We are a third-generation family-run business. We've been doing Chicagoland roofs since 1953.
You really can't do that unless you do really amazing roofs. We share the same conservative values as you, and we really want to do your roof. Here's what you can expect.
First, no high pressure. You make the choice. Whatever option you choose, count on getting a roof that lasts at a fair price.
You see, application is really the key. We follow the manufacturer's specifications so your warranty is intact. You know, a lot of companies don't do that, and that could really void your warranty.
No horror stories here. The roof you need that will fix your problems. When your roof is needy,
Call Grumweedy.
for your needy roof, go to myroofisneedy.com. myroofisneedy.com.
I met someone. You hear it a lot from people on Match because more people have met their someone on Match than on any other dating app. Everyone wants to find that meaningful connection, and Match is not only number one in first, but second dates, too. Now here's a free offer for our listeners. Go to Match.com/show for 7 days free. That's 7 days completely free to search, view photos, and connect. This free offer is found at Match.com/show. That's Match.com/show. Match.com/show.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, McDonald's redesigning the fry box.
Yeah, a limited edition of fry boxes. On the back will have the rainbow flag to symbolize gay pride, because June, the month of June, everyone has their gay pride parades. Ours is here June 25th, but in the Washington, D.C. area, it's next week. So they're they're dressing up the fry box with the rainbow flag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the slogan, I'm loving it.
They're a fun way to show our support for LGBTQ, MNLPQ. Using one of McDonald's most iconic and recognizable items, said Kathy Martin, co-chair of the McDonald's Pride Network. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Sure.
She says we're proud to honor and celebrate LGBTQ.
Yeah. And McDonald's also saying this is small potatoes compared to our overall support for LGBTQ, et cetera, et cetera. Did you see what they did there?
Yeah.
I know one guy who's excited about the new box, and that's Big Gay Al.
I'm super! Thanks for asking. All things considered, I couldn't be better. I'm a thing. I'm feeling super. No, nothing bugs me. Everything is super when you're. Don't you think I look cute in this hat?
I'll hold the fries.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
All that extra weight is messing with your health, your sleep, your social life, even your love life. Time to take control. I'm Dr. Frank Marticello, and that's exactly what I did. I always worked out, worked hard, and no matter what I did, I couldn't lose that weight. I then saw a picture of myself, and that's what did it. I had to search for a solution. I found the ideal method. I lost 80 pounds, opened Total Life Weight Loss, and that was 9 years ago, and I've kept it off. Listen to this.
I hated being on meds needed only because I was overweight. I was tired of being tired and wearing black all the time. So I turned to Total Life Weight Loss. It was truly a life changer. Total Life Weight Loss gave me support and strategies to get rid of the weight and maintain my new current weight. I love the way I look and feel.
This is a medically developed protocol that helps you lose weight fast, get healthy, and keep it off for life. Call Total Life Weight Loss now at 708-695-5999 to book your free metabolic assessment or attend one of our free educational workshops. Again, that's 708-695-5999.
Hey, would you buy a house without looking inside? Well, of course not. Shouldn't you be just as diligent when choosing a financial advisor? Hey, it's Sean Hannity here, and just as a house is more than four walls, well, a financial advisor is more than just a nice office. What's their background? Do they work in your best interest as a fiduciary? What's their financial specialty? You want to know all these things because the chances are over your lifetime, you're going to trust them with far more than the value of your home, because knowledge and experience count for a lot in retirement income planning. Here in Chicago, you need to know Anthony and Michael Pellegrino and their team at Goldstone Financial Group. Call them now, 800-620-9697. That's 800-620-9697. Don't be cavalier with what you have spent a lifetime building. Call Goldstone Financial Group, 800-620-9697.
Investment advisory services offered through Goldstone Financial Group, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
The performance, conduct, and sustainability of organizations are a direct result of leadership. A leader's impact can be profoundly good or bad. We've experienced the devastating impact of unethical, selfish, and corrupt leaders. We've also experienced the impact of good and caring leaders whose honesty, integrity, and ethical conduct have created great organizations and a legacy of goodwill. Our challenging times require courageous, values-driven leaders to step up to these challenges. My name is Rich Panico. I am the founder and CEO of Integrated Project Management Company, IPM. I am blessed to lead a wonderful family of talented and caring leaders. Join us as we strive to change the world, one project at a time.
Trust IPM, the consulting industry's leader at executing your critical initiatives. For almost 3 decades, IPM has planned and executed projects in the life sciences, healthcare, consumer, and industrial sectors with honesty and integrity. Visit IPMCinc.com. That's IPMCinc.com. Or call Integrated Project Management's Chicago office at 630-789-8600.
5:57. Let's check the roads this early morning in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. We're seeing delays on the northbound tri-state from Holstead to before Dixie Highway. A crash just cleared out of the way. Edens is fine. Inbound Kennedy, heavy from the River Road toll to Harlem. It's 22 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 20. Eisenhower is now 40 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, outbound 30. Inbound Stevenson, heavy delays start at Weber Road. Once you get to 355, it is an hour and 14 minutes from 355 to the drive. An hour from the tri-state. It's fine outbound at 34 minutes to 355. The Ryan, 23 minutes from 95th to the Loop. Traffic is a service of Lowe's. Pro customers at Lowe's save 5% on every purchase every day when you use your Lowe's Business Credit Account. That's 5% on all purchases in-store or online. Subject to credit approval, U.S. only. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues after a full update from Fox News and your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the aircomfort.com Weather Center, here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Breezy today with wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour. Otherwise, mostly sunny, high 74. A moonlit sky for tonight with a low 54. Then we will see sunshine throughout much of the day tomorrow, high 75. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
Currently 55 at O'Hare, 56 along Chicago's lakefront. The news, a service of NTB. Get your 5-quart conventional oil change today. Just $19.99 plus $3 disposal fee for tires, oil, service, and repairs. National Tire and Battery. That is all you need. 5:59 in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. Here are the stories we're following this morning just ahead of Fox News. High waves in the waters off Chicago and northwest Indiana, prompting a warning from the National Weather Service over hazardous conditions and rip currents. Crews remain on the scene of a blaze on Chicago's south side. The fire started early this morning near 78th and Union. Chicago police are questioning two after shots were fired at officers in the North Lawndale neighborhood. The incident happened overnight near 13th and South Troy. Mayor Emanuel defending his new police reform plan that includes no supervision by a federal judge. Former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich will not get a rehearing. Former governor, convicted in 2011, was denied by the 7th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. Chris Bryant's 2-run home run helped the Cubs down the Marlins 3-1. More Dan and Amy after Fox News. WIND Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
A leak gets plugged. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. An NSA contractor busted, accused of giving a top secret document about Russia to the media. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, Reality Lee Winter is charged with mailing classified information about Russian hacking efforts to a news outlet. The 25-year-old was arrested after a story appeared on the Intercept website. House Oversight Committee Republican Chair Jason Chaffetz.
When you have classified information, you cannot put that out there just because you think it would be a good idea.
Democratic Senator and former vice presidential candidate Tim Kaine told CNN leakers should face consequences, but added,
the American public is also entitled to know the degree to which Russia invaded the election.
The Intercept report said Russia tried to obtain elections-related software. Dave?
Rachel, while Iraqis drive ISIS out of Mosul, the terrorists are now under attack in the Syrian capital of their so-called Islamic State. U.S.-backed Syrian rebels have begun an offensive on Raqqa. The commander of the U.S.-led coalition says it'll be a long and difficult fight, but will deliver a decisive blow to ISIS's physical caliphate. Everyone arrested in Britain after Saturday's London bridge attacks has been released. As we learn more about the terrorists, Fox's Simon Owen live in London.
Dave, police just announcing one new arrest here. They've also named all three attackers. Rashid Radouan, who claimed to be Moroccan-Libyan, and Youssef Zagbar, thought to be Italian-Moroccan, were not known to authorities. But the third attacker, Kuram Butt, aged 27, a British citizen born in Pakistan, was on the intelligence radar here. Neighbours saying he would try and radicalise children.
Just talking about all the time about the Islam or God.
He also appeared in a TV documentary last year titled The Jihadis Next Door, but police saying there was no evidence he was planning an attack. Dave?
Simon, in Afghanistan, they've now raised the number of people killed in last week's suicide truck bombing in Kabul to 150. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Not even halfway through this first year in office, the political left and dinosaur media actually think they're going to impeach President Trump. Fake scandal after fake scandal dominate the headlines in the cable newsrooms, and not surprisingly, it's even causing establishment Republicans to get wobbly. Yeah, guess it didn't occur to them that making America great again was going to take some work. Sometimes work is hard. You know it, though, and so does the president. That's also why we're here. We never get wobbly. AM 560, The Answer.
Kyle is a dog trainer.
Okay, sit. Good boy.
In his personal time, Kyle's a personal trainer.
1, 2, good.
Kyle knows how to get results, but when it comes to mortgages, he's less confident.
Guilty as charged.
Fortunately, there's Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. It's simple, so he can understand the details and know he's getting the right mortgage. Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Apply simply, understand fully, mortgage confidently. Go to rocketmortgage.com today.
Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030.
The key to success? Keep it simple, especially when it comes to hiring. And nobody makes it easier than Indeed.com. Post a job in minutes. Set up screener questions. Manage your candidates from one dashboard. According to an independent study, 5 times more hires are made through Indeed than any other job site. New users claim your $50 credit to post a sponsored job at Indeed.com/credit. Indeed, the world's #1 job site. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
What are you doing the 4th of July? Get to the Bolingbrook Golf Club Tuesday, July 4th, starting at 2 p.m. There's fun for the entire family and free admission. Check out live music and great food. Plenty of kids' activities and inflatables. Choose from over a dozen local restaurants and food trucks. Then the highlight of the 4th of July, a 30-minute fireworks show presented by the Village of Bolingbrook. Don't miss the 4th of July blowout at the Bolingbrook Golf Club. More info at bolingbrookgolfclub.com. Sponsored by COTG, Pepsi, Southern Glacier, and Miller Lite. This hourly segment is brought to you by OneClickPicks.com. Buy 25 printed cards and get 15 free when you use promo code 15free at checkout. OneClickPix.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. I know this is a recurring question with respect to President Trump, but do you wish he would tweet less, particularly in the wake of tragic events like a terrorist attack in London on Saturday night? He is receiving a lot of criticism from conservatives who want his Twitter account shut down. Washington Examiner had a piece on an editorial essentially suggesting it. The Wall Street Journal torched him this morning.
Yeah, they sure did. I read that article.
The buck stops everywhere else, writing, some people with a propensity for self-destructive behavior can't seem to help themselves. President Trump apparently among them. Over the weekend and into Monday, he indulged in another cycle of Twitter outbursts and pointless personal feuding that may damage his agenda and the powers of the presidency. The agenda piece of it and the power of the presidency is about the temporary travel ban and saying, I'm going to call it a travel ban because that's what it is. I don't care what the lawyers call it, effectively is what he said. And that is...
but he's slamming his own Justice Department.
Well, that's
the problem.
Now there's a story about alleged tension between him and Attorney General Sessions. So that's one aspect of it. And then the second piece of it, the personal feuding that's pointless. They're talking about the feuding with London Mayor Sadiq Khan and whether or not it's below the stature of the presidency to be taking shots at a municipal official overseas, which is what Sadiq Khan is effectively. As much as London's a global city and all that, he's still just a municipal official. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Do you find Trump's, beyond the communication channel, but Twitter is normally it, but on the stump, when he goes off script, the same thing can occur and has. Pointless personal feuding and word and choices that may damage his agenda and the powers of the presidency, particularly the former more so than the latter. The Supreme Court, I would think and I would hope, would look past whatever he describes his executive order is in 140 characters as irrelevant to their decision on the matter.
So are his tweets admissible in court? I mean, can they consider this when they're making their decision?
You can ask the judge to enter it into the record to take, judicial notice of it effectively.
All I can think of, because you know me, the whole time I've been saying, please take his Twitter away. Please take his Twitter away. Then there was talk of him having an attorney vet his tweets before he presses tweet. But remember when the Manchester bombing happened, where President Trump was on his foreign trip, he was kept busy. So he didn't have time to tweet a lot. I mean, he offered his condolences. That was it. But now he's back home, and then a London attack happened, and that's when he tweeted out, at least 7 dead, 48 wounded in terror attack, and Mayor of London says there is, quote, no reason to be alarmed.
Now,
and many people thought he was taken out of context, the mayor, Khan, because he was saying there's no reason to be alarmed because there'll be a larger police presence out there.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, the Wall Street Journal characterizing Sadiq Khan as somehow taking the high road on this, with his office declining to comment on the latest comment from Donald Trump. That's not exactly true. That's not exactly true. Khan saying, I don't think we should roll out the red carpet to the president.
Well, yeah, that's what's new this morning. He doesn't want to roll out the red carpet, but he also doesn't feel that President Trump needs to visit the UK right now or London.
I don't think we should be rolling out the red carpet to the President of the USA in the circumstances where his policies go against everything we stand for. I think one of the things when you have a special relationship, it's no different to when you've got a close mate. You stand with them in times of adversity, but you call them out when they're wrong.
Well, right. Now, that goes both ways, I suppose. Sadiq Khan is calling out President Trump when he thinks he's wrong. And by the way, Theresa May essentially rallied to Khan's defense, which she's kind of forced to do in that circumstance.
She has an election in 2 days?
Well, also just the idea of dissension in the ranks in the wake of a terrorist attack, the prime minister with the mayor of the city where the attack occurred. I mean, think about that for a second. That doesn't make any sense. That serves no one's interest in Britain. But to the point of that going both ways, so Sadiq Khan can criticize Trump, close mate, special relationship, all that. Well, Trump can criticize Sadiq Khan as well, and Sadiq Khan has said and done a lot of things that are worthy of substantive criticism.
Yes, and please remind people again what he said during the election. What Sadiq Khan said.
Well, he said in 2009 he had to apologize for it before the election, which he was victorious, obviously, when it came to light. But he referred to moderate Muslims as Uncle Toms.
And for me, that's just, you can forgive people, but you can't forget. And I will never forget that he said that.
Yeah, that's not like one of those slips of the tongue.
No, that's from the heart.
That's coming. Well, it's coming from someplace. Yeah, it's coming from someplace.
Well, do you think President Trump should cancel his visit to the UK? 312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line. 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
Well, I suppose the dust will have settled from the Thursday election, and we'll see what we've got in the UK. I mean, if it's Corbyn, you're going to have a very different England. And it's not going to be a better England, and it's not going to be a safer England. There's legitimate criticisms to be leveled against Theresa May, both as Home Secretary and now as Prime Minister. But Jeremy Corbyn is, off the edge of the world on the political spectrum. He's effectively a terrorist sympathizer.
Really?
And I'm not talking about this willy-nilly. He said something. I mean, he's gone to bat for convicted terrorists throughout his storied career in British politics. He's basically he's like Linda Sarsour or one of these professional agitators that organize these rallies where people put genitals on their heads and stuff like that. I mean, he is goofy left, not a serious person, and he hadn't been taken seriously for a long time, even within the Labour Party. And now all of a sudden, we're tending to new places in this brave new world in the 21st century. Tom in Deer Park, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, my comment in regard to the president's tweeting. It's obviously it's coming right from his mind, and besides the tweets that prove his ignorance and his lack of thought, this is giving keen insight into what foreign intelligence would just pay thousands of hours to get, and that's into the insight of the number one executive in our country, and his lack of clear thinking and his I don't know, words can't describe it, but what the Soviets would do to get into Reagan's mind, Donald Trump is giving to them for free every day. That's my comment.
All right, thanks, Tom. Appreciate that. Yeah, man. I mean, is it getting into his mind with his 140 characters on a particular topic, or even a tweet storm of sorts? Here's something to consider. You can't have it both ways with Trump. You can't say on the one hand he's showing all his cards, and now the Russians, although they are still run by a Soviet, they are still run by a Soviet. True. But you can't say that he's disclosing all this that foreign governments would love to have. They would invest thousands of hours to get these kind of keen insights into the Trump mind, and on the other hand, say he's erratic. So they don't have insights because he's erratic, so you don't know what he's going to say or do next, or he's telegraphing everything. Which is it?
Well,
they're sort of mutually exclusive.
He's 70 years old. You're not going to teach an old dog new tricks. They want to literally grab the phone out of his hands and take it away, but that's not going to happen. And he's not listening to his advisors who said, basic things like think before you tweet. I mean, I used to have Marcus Brown, our program director, read my tweets before I tweeted them out. In the beginning, because I wasn't sure what was. Well, don't look at me like that. I'm just being honest. That's what I did.
No, I think it's good policy.
Because I had a bad tweet once, okay? We all have bad tweets. I had a really bad tweet once, which was deleted, and this was years and years ago. Can't find it anywhere. So then my policy was, if Marcus Brown would approve, I could tweet it. If Marcus Brown wouldn't approve, I wouldn't tweet it.
That was after Sadiq Khan also said we should not roll out the red carpet for Amy if she wants to visit Mary Olding.
No, I'm just saying, I mean, it's... he's not going to... They've been trying to take his phone out of his hands. He won't listen to anybody.
Well, it detracts from the tweets I really want to focus on for enjoyment, like from Bette Midler.
Uh-oh.
Noted geopolitical thinker.
Star of Beaches.
Yes.
And other fine films.
More sour and grief at the hands of madmen in London. Men and religion are worthless. That's the takeaway.
Wow. She said men and religion are worthless?
Yeah, that's the takeaway. Now,
wonder what God she prays to.
It is she prays to Bette Midler. It is worth noting. Now, I know they were released, but 7 of the 12 people that were arrested in connection with the London terrorist attack were women. And you have had women that have been, number one, terrorists themselves or co-conspirators, like, say, the Orlando shooters.
Catherine Russell, the Tsarnaev wife.
That's an opinion. That's not a legal determination at this point. She's never been arrested.
Oh, she's been taken into custody for questioning several times.
She's never been arrested.
Right, but she's still on the radar. No one has 8 pressure cookers in their house when they live in a 300-square-foot studio.
I understand. Sophie Hagen, she apparently is a comedian, very much in the comedic stylings of Kathy Griffin. She tweeted, "All terrorists are men. This is a problem with toxic masculinity. Way more of the terrorists are men than claim to be Muslim. Address it." I can't because I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
You saw Patriots Day, right? Yeah, it doesn't do any favors for Catherine Russell. Today, plenty of sunshine, breezy, pleasant, a high of 74 degrees. Tonight, a moonlit sky. That is the name of Dan Proft's junior high school band.
Christopher Cross Tribute Band.
There you go. And then tomorrow, more of the same, just an abundance of sunshine and a high of 75 degrees. Let's get into our alarm detection systems traffic center. Here's the boss, the number one guy, Jim Talamonte.
Well, thanks, Amy. Good morning. Good morning, Dan. Eastbound on the Eden Spur, we've got a little jam starting past Waukegan Road. It's slow till you get onto the Edens itself, at least a 5-minute delay. And then on the Edens itself, just a little congestion approaching the junction. Clear outbound. Kennedy, 25 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 27. Got some delays on westbound 190 from the Kennedy to the Tri-State. About Eisenhower, 48 minutes now. Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 32. The Stevenson's just brutal. Delays start at Weber, and it's an hour and 16 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, an hour from the Tri-State. Still good outbound. Ryan, 26 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 33 minutes, I-80 to the merge, Bishop 420. Northbound Tri-State slow from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Eastbound Adams Tollway at Randall, got a collision involving a deer, and then it's Jan from the Tri-State onto the Kennedy. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Oh, I look forward to going to sleep every night to just rest my head on a MyPillow. It's patented fill, conforms to your neck and back to give you the best sleep ever. You will wake up feeling recharged and ready to tackle your day. And right now, through the month of June, you can get 50% off the 4-pack. That's 2 premium MyPillows and 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows, all for 50% off. And you'll get into deep sleep faster and won't wake up again with that stiff neck or headache. And our good friend Mike Lindell manufactures them in America using American labor. You can wash and dry them. They're hypoallergenic, and you'll get the 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee. So in June, get 50% off the 4-pack by calling 800-489-0201. Use the promo code Amy or visit mypillow.com, promo code Amy. Just do it.
Gatto Industrial Platers, Inc. is the specialist in zinc and zinc nickel plating. Gatto is big, they're good, and they're easy to work with. Their high-production rack plating line has up to a 15-foot capacity to handle any zinc plating requirement. Gatto's 210,000-square-foot facility can process 300 tons per day and offers complete custom packaging with available pickup and delivery in the Chicago metro area by Gatto's own fleet of trucks. All of Gatto's products are inspected and certified to ensure that each customer is receiving the best and most cost-effective plating protection. Gatto is home to King Kong, the largest zinc plating line in North America that can zinc plate parts up to 27 feet long and weighing up to 8,000 pounds. For a quote and fast 24 to 48-hour service, call George Gatto Jr. or George Gatto Sr. at 1-800-290-1223. That's 1-800-290-1223. 1-800-290-1223.
I have actually been on Balance of Nature for a year now. I have MS, and I recently had an MRI. This is the first year that I've had a stable MRI, so I'm thrilled. When I have an MRI with MS, usually there are glowing spots that come through, which is damage on the nerves in my brain and my spinal cord, and when they're glowing, it means they're active. And then my last MRI, they pulled it up, and I honestly couldn't believe that it was my MRI. There was nothing glowing. And in fact, the dark spots were shrinking. They were healing. And the doctor actually said to me, I think we're in remission. I was so happy. I had no idea that that could be my reality.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free. And we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
AM 560. The Answer.
More of Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy comes your way now. And make sure to join me, Larry Elder, tonight at 7, only on AM 560, The Answer.
This song puts me in a good mood. Doesn't it take you to your happy place? Sing it, Dan. Ready? Here you go. 3, 2, 1.
I can't
Well, it's
sing,
not far down. Oh.
At least it's not falling. The wind is right.
Here you go. Sing this part. Really
could be.
Now sing it like you mean it. Come on, here you go.
I can't do it.
Wind, bring to carry me. Soon I will be free. Smooth moves with Dan and Amy.
I'm sorry, I'm a little.
Are you crying over there?
A little emotional. A little.
Is that allergies or are you crying?
I love you, Christopher Cross.
Oh, I love harmonizing.
That's great, man. Wish I was in a little rowboat on Lake Michigan right now.
With those high waves yesterday, you'd be capsized. Whoa, this isn't sailing.
Is it taboo to be friends with a Republican? It is for Amy. She's got no friends left.
I have no friends.
But
0.0.
I'm speaking specifically of Seattle, but we don't have to limit it to Seattle. Seattle Times op-ed writer asked the question. He asked the question, can we just get along? Okay, Rodney King. This question is being asked more and more, what with the bitter polarization of the nation. The answer right now would appear to be a resounding no. We don't want to. I had thought that the other day when listening to the Seattle City Council. One council member tried to highlight a basic agreement on a pedestrian topic. A new jail should be built for juveniles. And he tried to strike a bipartisan tone, noting that even some of our Republican friends have been calling for seismic changes to the incarceration system. Well, Shama Sawant, member of the Seattle City Council, wasn't having any of it. She stood up and said Burgess wasn't speaking for her with this, quote-unquote, our Republican friends business.
Did you say business?
Because she assured the crowd, did the good councilwoman Sawant, she doesn't have any Republican friends.
Oh. Okay.
Yay! Cheered the grunge crowd at the city council meeting. Now, Sawant is a socialist, so that's not a surprise. And it's also not a surprise she's on the Seattle City Council.
Oh, she is?
But what about that? What about this, in the wake of the divisive election, we're all going to get out of our bubbles, we're all going to talk to one another, we're all going to, find points of commonality, we're all going to disagree civilly, and, see if we can maybe incorporate somebody whose views don't quite comport with ours into our lives. Are you doing that? Do you think it's taboo to be friends with a Republican? Or if you're a conservative, do you think it's taboo to be friends with Shama Sawant? I do. But more general than her, somebody that has a different perspective than you, somebody that's a Democrat, somebody that's a liberal.
312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line. Dan, do you have any friends who are Democrats?
I do. Yeah.
And how's that relationship going?
It's fine.
Let's talk about our feelings.
It's fine because they're friends.
But they're lefty liberals, or they wear the pea hats and things like that?
No, that's impossible. That's just impossible. What do we talk about? What are we going to do together?
See, that's why I have no friends. But I did get a text message from someone from Engine 78, in Chicago, that said, quote, Amy, I'm your friend and always will be.
Yeah, but he's not a pea hat socialist.
Well, he's not a girlfriend. We're talking. I'm glad he's a
just a
male
friend.
who's a
No,
friend,
it's just a friend.
and I appreciate him. I've known him for 30 years, but
we're not talking. It's post-gender. We're talking about friendship, and whether you can have someone in your life that's meaningful to you. I'm not talking about like a political friend, which is to say, not a friend. That's what political friends actually are. I'm not saying about somebody.
It's hard not to talk about politics.
You have a relationship strategically with somebody professionally. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a friend. And but even frankly, to have a civil professional relationship with people you disagree with is difficult. And what you just said is precisely the reason. It's what you're talking about when you're talking about politics. You're talking about values.
Mm-hmm.
And so if your values are so diametrically opposed that you can't establish any foundation of commonality to have a substantive discussion, even if you come to different conclusions about how to make K through 12 education better or how to make Chicago streets safer or whatever the issue is, then what's the point? It's impossible. If you can, it's the way I always, if you can't agree that 2 + 2 = 4, then it's difficult to have a conversation about math. And that's kind of the same thing in politics.
Well, we're talking about teachers' pensions over the weekend, and of course it's Ronner's fault. And I said, how in the world would this be Ronner's fault? I mean, it's this Democratic, lords that we've had in Chicago and in Illinois for the past 40 years. They're the ones to blame, not Ronner. Ronner got here, 2 years ago?
Well, right. I mean, this is right. So you could argue about, the fault lines about electoral politics are a little bit different, but what you were saying is precisely correct. But yeah, the other thing too is if you're just going to talk to somebody who's basically a bag of cement, well, like most of the members of the General Assembly, who just kind of they just kind of exist. They're just kind of immovable and amorphous, and there's no thought going on. They just have adopted a position, and no matter how hard you beat your head against that bag of cement, you're not making much of an indentation. Then what is the point? Don in Crestwood, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yes, as opposed to having a liberal friend, I'm a conservative.
Yeah.
For 50 years, the liberals have been getting their way. Now that we're pushing back, all of a sudden it's polarized. But when you consider that it costs as much money to incarcerate a prisoner in California than it does to send somebody to Harvard with a degree, what's the point in being their friends?
All right, thanks for the call, Don. I mean, here's the text from Amy Davis's bowling ball. A Democrat is just a Twitter troll you haven't met yet. Yeah, sort of. Here's part of the challenge. Bill McGurn has a really good piece in the Wall Street Journal, Why Elites Hate. That's worth a look, but I'll sum it for you. He basically just says, look, the condescension and indignation of the elitist left that was defeated back in November and frankly has been getting their lunch handed to them the last several cycles, which is why the Democrats are a super minority party in the country. And when you look at governor's mansions and general and state legislatures, as well as Congress and the president, of course, the condescension, the indignation, the vileness, the spite, those aren't bugs. They're features of the modern left. They have moved so far to the left, both in terms of the kind of the champagne socialism, but then the disgust they have for anybody who disagrees with them. Every debate is over before it starts with them. Their position is their position, and it shall be imposed. And if you don't like it, then you're all the isms and the phobias and suffering from all the phobias. Well, it's really difficult to have a productive conversation in that context with people who behave like that. And so,
well, it's hard for me with one of my liberal lady friends because I was talking about what I would do if I wasn't on the radio. And she said, I said, maybe I would teach a media class and coach because I've really enjoyed coaching.
Okay.
And she said to me, well, you're going to have to separate yourself from Dan Proft and from that station for a while before anybody would hire you.
Cooling off period.
Before anybody would hire me. And I said, well, what did I'm a moderate. I'm a squishy, mushy, moderate Republican. I mean, Dan has his own views. You tweet. I have nothing to do with how you live your life or what your values are, anything.
Well,
take it a cooling period.
I understand. It's unfortunate for you that you don't.
Stop breathing on me.
But yeah, so the
but
cooling,
that was the
cooling off period. But so what? Say you were as conservative as I am. Right. What does that have to do with coaching or
teaching children?
Media? You've had 45 years in media.
18 years. Thank you.
Oh well, something a rounding error.
Thank you.
But I mean, but that's
I'm 90.
That's the mentality.
I know,
because it's okay for us to politicize everything we touch. But it's not okay for you to have your own worldview. That's the lens through which they view the world. And everybody views the world through a lens that's reflective of certain value systems. And the left is being very clear about theirs, which is why I spend more of my time combating that totalitarian lens than worrying about making friends with people who possess it.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Sticking kind of on the topic. How much does it cost per college graduate at Northeastern Illinois University, one of those universities crying poor at present? We'll have that at 6:36.
And later, there's a new ringtone for those of you who are here illegally. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
56 degrees, sunny skies in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. Federal contractor is under arrest for allegedly leaking classified NSA reports on Russian hacking to the website The Intercept.
The report says Russian intelligence agents may have used so-called spear phishing emails to try and launch a cyber attack on U.S. voting software. White House spokesman Sarah Huckabee Sanders says President Trump was not trying to pick a fight with London Mayor Sadiq Khan in critical tweets.
We have constant attacks going on, not just there, but across the globe, and we have to start putting national security and global security at an all-time high.
Sanders also says it's ridiculous to suggest that the president has a problem with the mayor because he's a Muslim. Bill Cosby's sexual assault trial continues today in a Pennsylvania courtroom. In opening statements yesterday, the prosecution alleged the comedian used fame and power to take advantage of women. Two proprietors of an Oakland warehouse where a fire killed 36 in December now face criminal charges.
My office has filed felony criminal complaints against Derek Almena and Max Harris.
Almena and Harris were arrested outside of the Bay Area on suspicion of 36 individual counts of involuntary manslaughter. Oil this morning trading at its lowest price in 3 weeks. Diplomats working to dial down uncertainty over tensions in the Middle East. High waves in the waters off Chicago beaches and northwest Indiana, prompting a warning from the National Weather Service because of wave heights and rip currents. Crews remain at the scene of a blaze on Chicago's south side. No injuries reported. And you may not have heard this, but there's a new song headed for Monday Night Football. But it's an old song. Country music star Hank Williams Jr. is heading back to Monday Night Football's pregame. Williams debuting a new version of All My Rowdy Friends are here on Monday night before the first Monday night game between the Saints and Vikings, September 11. Now, you may recall ESPN cut Williams in 2011 following remarks about President Barack Obama. Chris Bryant, a 2-run home run. Cubs beat the Marlins 3-1. White Sox open a 3-game road set with the Rays this evening. Stanley Cup final tied at 2 games each after a Predators win over the Penguins. The news service of NTB. Get your 5-quart conventional oil change today, just $19.99, plus $3 disposal fee for tires, oil, service, and repairs. National Tire and Battery, that's all you need. 6:34 is our time, and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, a family tradition since 1897.
Allergies, pollen in the air, dogs in the house, mold in the basement. Whatever triggers your allergy symptoms, it can really hold you back. Break through with Allegra 5-in-1 Relief. Allegra works fast, won't make you drowsy, provides 24-hour multi-symptom relief, and it's effective every day. Break through allergies with Allegra. Starts working in 1 hour. Use only as directed. Guaranteed or your money back. Visit Allegra.com.
Napa know-how. When you buy AC Pro refrigerant at Napa for $33.99, it comes with a pressure gauge, quick connect hose, and refrigerant to make just about any car cool again. Old cars, new cars, brown cars, even cars with hand crank windows. If it has 4 wheels and an air conditioner, AC Pro refrigerant for $33.99 can make your car cool. Literally. That's Napa know-how. Napa know-how. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 6/30/17.
As the head of procurement for my company, I was sweating a big deadline and got tired of calling my printer for updates, only to hear excuses. So I heard about McGrath Printing Custom Apparel and gave them a call. I got A+ service and they beat the deadline. McGrath Printing really saved my...
I'm a supply chain manager for a Fortune 500 company, and we had $50,000 of product waiting for instruction manuals because our printer couldn't deliver on time. One call to McGrath Printing Custom Apparel, and they saved my...
At McGrath Printing Custom Apparel, they've been saving companies for over 35 years. Give them a call at 815-356-5246. That's 815-356-5246. And mention code AM560 and get 20% off your first order. So remember,
go to where the pros go. McGrathPrint.com. McGrathPrint.com.
6:36, the news, a service of Half Price Books. Let's jump into the alarm detection systems traffic center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Eastbound on the Eden Spur, you've got delays from past Waukegan Road to the Edens, and then scattered delays between Skokie Road and the Junction. 23 minutes from Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 20. Inbound Kennedy, 35 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. 13 from Montrose, 11 on the Express. Outbound 21 minutes to Montrose and 41 to O'Hare. Inbound Eisenhower delays start at Wolf Road. It is 52 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 40. Inbound Stevenson, an hour and 16 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, an hour from the Tri-State. Outbound 42 minutes to 355. Bryan is 26 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State, stop and go from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Eastbound Adams Tollway heavy from the Tri-State to the Kennedy. Reagan Tollway at 355. There's a crash in the left lane, and it's slow from 83 to the Tri-State. 8094 westbound, heavy Grant to Klein. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Sunny, breezy, and pleasant. High of 74, but remember those beach warnings are up for both the Chicagoland lakefront and Northwest Indiana. Currently 57. Next news update is at 7. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Get Down to Business with Shalom Klein, the show for business and jobs powered by Tandem HR. Heard Sunday evenings at 6.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues now. And make sure to stay tuned to catch me, Mike Gallagher, coming up at 9, only on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. We've got a little bit of breaking news, Amy.
Yeah, the third London bridge attacker has been named. He's Yusuf Zagba. He's a 22-year-old son of an Italian mother and a Moroccan father. But he was reportedly stopped at the Bologna airport in 2016 when he was bound for Syria via Turkey. So he lived in East London, again, described as an Italian national of Moroccan descent. He worked at a restaurant in London, and he was reported to have been on Italy's list of persons at risk. And officials in Italy alerted British and Moroccan authorities about his frequent movements and trips to Syria.
And now he's, with apologies to Gautier, just someone that we used to know. And that's fine, but the real issue is not the names. The real issue is the profiles, what law enforcement, what intelligence knew, how they make the threat assessments, what were the responses, were they appropriate? These are the questions that I'm sure MI5 and London police are asking themselves and reviewing, just as we have done here when we've had terrorist attacks on the homeland. I want to get back to this discussion we were having about taboo, though, about how we consort with people we disagree with or not. And this segues into this really interesting analysis in the Wall Street Journal, testing data on critical thinking skills for our future leaders in college. But first, Lauren on the north side. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, Dan. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So yeah, I was so glad that you brought up this discussion. I was just thinking about this. I used to be a liberal. I'm born and raised in Chicago. But, I always was conservative on certain issues, and that was always okay in the past, and I really haven't changed all that much. But what I've noticed about my liberal friends now, I haven't voted, Democrat since 2008. But what I've noticed is that, they have this concept, this thinking, it's kind of faulty thinking of like the oppressed versus the oppressor, right? So they demonize conservatives. The conservatives are the oppressor. And they don't understand where this ideology comes from. And I have liberal friends that are in their 40s and have never really heard of Marxism, don't understand what that means, don't understand, where their ideology even originates. And it's really sad because, I've actually lost friends over this election and, just been demonized and, people just saying the most outrageous things. And it's just like, I'm the same as I always was. I'm a good person. I'm not an oppressor.
Well, that's exactly it, Lauren. You're getting to, I think, part of the crux of it, which is the left's views. We're bad people. If you don't agree with me, you're a bad person. So if you say that I'm a bad person, that kind of ends the discussion and the interest in going in both directions. What exactly? What is our relationship going to be predicated on? You think I'm bad, and then I think I'm bad too.
I know. Yeah, and it's so crazy because it's like, you know, they need that. You know, they call it what is it called?
Virtue signaling.
Virtue signaling, exactly. And you know, that's just, it's so weak. It's like, come on, you know, use your brain.
Now, Lauren, my partner Amy is looking for friends. Would you like to be Amy's
Would you
friend?
like to play volleyball?
Yeah.
You want to play volleyball on the beach with me sometime?
Yeah. Right. You guys go, you know, walk the dogs or...
Do you have a dog, Lauren?
Go hot yoga.
I do have a dog. Yeah, I'd love to.
All right.
I'll give you my number and we'll hang out.
All right.
Okay, wait, hold on the line then.
We'll put you on hold. Yeah, we'll put you on hold. Well, look, Amy made a friend today. This has been a successful show.
I live on the north side, too.
Thank you for the call, Lauren. Appreciate that.
That would be great. Adventures with Lauren.
All right. Now we're making some progress
we can talk
here
in
today.
quiet, you know, because all Republicans in the city always come up to me like, I'm a Republican. Seriously, at East Bank Club or wherever I am, if they want to talk politics, they'll give me the nod or like, I'm a Republican.
Well, Lauren reminds me of my friend Catherine, who did this little experiment after the election, right? And she got in fights with friends. She's in commercial real estate, property management in the city. And she, got in fights with her friends over, I voted for Trump and you. So she stopped the fighting about that, but she kind of surreptitiously walked them into an ambush, which is great. She just had nothing to do with politics. What are words you would use? I'm doing a thought experiment. I'm doing something. What are words you use to describe me? This is Catherine to her friends. And they said, generous, fun, funny, thoughtful.
Me, yeah.
All those things. And then she turned those words back on them and said, so I was this person on, in October, and now I'm the devil incarnate in November because I voted for Trump and he won. Does that make sense to you?
And she can safely tell people she voted for Trump. She's okay with it.
Well, yeah. But I mean, the point is holding a mirror up to the hypocrisy and idiocy and ignorance and intolerance of people who disagree with you. I know a lot of people voted for Obama. I don't turn my back on them.
I don't.
I mean, it's just.
Well,
grow up.
I just think
but
that
they don't want to.
If I told my church that I was a moderate Republican, I think they'd kick me out.
Well, don't they know that? Has word gotten around at that? By the way, it's a cult. Can we just agree that it's a cult?
It's not a cult.
Well,
not a cult.
If it meets
the days that we have sermons that are not political are good days, Dan.
Look, if it meets in a van, it's a cult. If you have to go to service in the woods, it's a cult. Mike on the north side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning. First off, Amy, we'll always be your friend, but you're not a moderate Republican. You're a liberal Republican. Dan's a moderate Republican, and I'm a terrible Republican.
Really?
No, I'm a bleeding heart Republican.
Wait a second. Mike, you're not a Republican at all. You're the head of the LGBT party, the love, guns, bacon, and Trump.
Trump, that's right. We're seceding. But the thing you have to remember, Amy, about these liberals are they're all atheists. They don't have a religion. They don't have a faith that they base their morality on. Everything is based upon them feeling good about their liberalism. Oh, I'm a good person because I believe this. Oh, I'm a good person because I believe that. Oh, I'm a good person because I disconnected my toilets and I don't pay taxes to the public schools. They're twisting themselves in knots now trying to defend it. But they can't. You just laugh at them. You'd say, okay, well, you do what you want, and look how far liberalism has gotten Chicago. Look how great these sections of the city are that the liberals have nurtured and loved all these years. Let's try it differently.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Mike.
But then you have my church. I mean, I agree part of what he's saying, but then my church, they're mostly liberals, and some are in open marriages, and we have transgender guy, or I don't know.
Right.
They're liberals, and they go to church.
You are the token white heterosexual at your church. And I think every church should have one, but just one.
There's more than just me.
Kurt in Brookfield.
Hey, Good morning. I've got 33 years in military and law enforcement, and when I look at the liberals, I wonder where our next warriors are going to come from, where our next protectors are going to come from in this country, because they do everything they can to downcast what we do. Yet it's the people like us and my fellow brothers and sisters out there in law enforcement and military that's keeping this country great, and they have no respect for us of our opinion or anything. So at what point is this country just going to turn over and the criminals and the terrorists are going to run it?
Yeah, well, thanks for the call, Kurt,
so
and for your
excited.
service.
Catherine's here.
Catherine, Ukrainian Village. That sounds familiar. Hi, Catherine.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Dan. Hi, Amy.
Hi.
Hi.
So what did you do last night?
You're my friend Catherine that I was just referencing, aren't you?
Yes, that would be me.
Okay.
That is actually me. First-time caller, I'd like to mention.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. All right.
Yeah, long-time listener, first-time caller. Well, I would love to be friends with Lauren, by the way. But I went.
What about Amy? Amy needs.
I'm a bleeding heart Republican.
Of course.
Amy needs another friend.
Yes, definitely. I went to a Break the Ramadan Fast dinner last week, and on my way driving out to the Mecca Center in Willowbrook, I was talking with one of my liberal friends who lives in Greenwich, Connecticut, and she said, and I said, I'm going to this dinner, and she said, wait a minute, you voted for Trump and you're going to a Break the Fast dinner? And I said, yeah. She said, we've got to sit down and talk about this, because how can that even happen? And I said, well, I'm open-minded. I want to learn more, and people are people, and I'm still human, and it's simple. I want to learn and find out, and why not just go and be among Muslim people?
What did you really do? You passed around Make America Great Again hats, didn't you?
Yeah, I bought a whole.
Well, Catherine, what did you learn from that dinner?
That Muslim people are loving, and they don't understand what's going on either. That's not the religion that they are practicing in their mosque, and it's just a crazy sect of people who are just going off the rails. That's all that it is, and and I don't say that lightly at all, but it's just they believe in peace in Willowbrook. That's what I saw. And people were so welcoming and so warm and so inviting, and the food was great. I just want to mention that, too.
Oh, all right. Very good. Thanks for the call, Catherine. Appreciate that. Well, this is the point. So this is a friend of mine, and this is exactly it. So you have the other reason you can't bridge these divides is because of the cartoonish caricature that is made. You voted for Trump and you're interacting with Muslims? I can't wrap my head around that. Really?
It's the world gone mad.
It's like what the left always does. Like, they are the great cultural mavens. They appreciate the arts because they defend the government funding of them, which is to say government censoring, because that's what funding is, making choices. But I'll tell you what, in my friend circle, including Democrat friends, and just kind of general, as I travel in different circles, I'm much more a frequenter of the lyric opera, of CSO, of Shakespeare Theater, of the theater scene in Chicago, than just about anybody I know. So the idea that, wait, you're a conservative and you like the arts? What? I don't understand that. Don't you just go to monster truck rallies on the weekend?
The WWE?
Yeah. Aren't you, smashing beer cans on each other's heads, listen to Leonard Skinner in the pool in your front yard?
Turtle pool. Yeah.
I mean, so the caricatures that a conservative interacting with a Muslim, or a conservative appreciating the arts, or being tolerant of people who disagree with him or her, these are just such foreign concepts, which are reflections on the hysterical nature of the modern-day left than they are on conservatives like my friend Catherine.
Finally, my mind's made up, and so is yours, right?
Absolutely. I'm voting for Trump, right?
If that's your vote, I question whether I can ever be with you again.
And that's how I became a Democrat.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Worker productivity flat in the first quarter. San Francisco's city attorney zeroing in on Uber. Cell phone privacy heading to the Supreme Court. Those stories next.
If you have unpaid tax debt to the IRS that you can't pay, please hear this special notice. Specially approved IRS relief programs designed to aid delinquent taxpayers are now in effect that can significantly improve your financial situation. Depending on your circumstances, you may qualify to have your tax problem resolved in your favor and may even have your back taxes reduced by thousands or eliminated entirely. A relief hotline has been established by Community Tax for you to call and see if you qualify at 800-804-7445. If you owe the IRS back taxes that you can't afford to pay, don't let the IRS trick you into thinking you have no way out. Our highly accredited tax professionals will let you know what you qualify for and how much you can save. We may be able to stop all liens, garnishments, levies, and save you thousands. Call and see if you qualify for this taxpayer relief at 800-804-7445. 800-804-7445. That's 800-804-7445. Community Tax. Who's your tax guy?
Worker productivity flat in the first quarter. At the same time, labor costs rose at the fastest rate since last year, up 2.2%, the fastest gain since the second quarter of last year. The city attorney in San Francisco issuing subpoenas to ride-sharing services Uber and Lyft for their records on driving practices and whether some minority neighborhoods are underserved. The two services have an estimated 45,000 drivers in the city by the Bay. Ahead, the Labor Department releasing job openings and labor turnover for the month of April today. The Supreme Court has agreed to hear a privacy rights case, the issue whether the police need warrants to access cell phone location information from wireless carriers or whether such searches are unlawful. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Hey, how would you like to have insurance for your computer network? You know, something to protect your hardware and software and, more importantly, give you peace of mind, help you sleep better at night. Well, using Turnkey IT for installation and support of your systems is like having insurance for your computer network. For one affordable monthly payment, your company gets a full team of certified technicians who are there for you, working in the background to ensure your systems are up and running. They'll help you over the phone and make house calls to your workplace, and Turnkey IT does not wait until there's an emergency call because they work hard to take preventative measures, keeping networks secure, backed up, and running nonstop. Turnkey IT can protect your network with the Turnkey experience where everything's included: Office 365 hosting, advanced network protection, cloud backup, disaster recovery, unlimited remote, and on-site support. Find out what Turnkey IT can do for your company. It's easy. Visit turnkey.pro today. That's turnkey.pro.
Finding great candidates to hire can be, well, like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter is different. It doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them. With its powerful technology, ZipRecruiter distributes your job everywhere it needs to be to find the right candidates. In fact, over 80% of jobs on ZipRecruiter get a qualified candidate in just one day. So, while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, only ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
Used by businesses of all sizes, ZipRecruiter offers the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. And right now you can try ZipRecruiter free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/work. That's ZipRecruiter.com/work for your free trial. ZipRecruiter.com/work.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
Did you know 40% of all cancer could be prevented? That's a fact. Along with maintaining appropriate body weight and regular exercise, the American Institute for Cancer Research and the USDA confirm that eating 9 to 11 servings of fruits and vegetables every day is the key. Now ask yourself, am I at risk? How many servings of fruits and vegetables did I eat today? Balance of Nature has solved this problem and provides an easy and affordable way to consume over 10 servings of 31 different whole fruits and vegetables every day.
Here's microbiologist Dr. Kim O'Neill talking about Balance of Nature.
Scientific research has shown that many cancers and lifestyle diseases can be prevented with a diet rich in fruits and vegetables. This prevention comes from the phytochemicals in the plants. They fight against oxidants that damage the cell's DNA, causing mutations that lead to disease. I don't take any supplementation, but I take Balance of Nature because I know, I've seen it in my lab, and I know that it works. I've seen the immune response increase, I've seen your DNA repair capacity increase, and I've seen DNA protection. And that, to me, as a scientist, rings so true.
I'm a big supporter of the product. 2 winters ago, I had, between November and March, I had 5 head colds, and each time it was like a 2-week ordeal. Last winter with your product, I didn't have a single one.
Balance of Nature is celebrating its 20th anniversary by providing you the best offer they've ever given. 2 free months of fruits and veggies and free shipping. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life, but I should have ordered it like 15 years ago.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity, sponsored by Upstream-Ideas.com. Rachel Carson was wrong about DDT. Paul Ehrlich's population bomb was a dud. Fashionable global cooling predictions about a coming ice age thawed. Now, Chinese communists, European socialists, Hollywood leftists, and Fortune 100 CEOs suggest that America's failure to lead from behind with our own unenforceable politicians' pledges on carbon emissions spells the imminent demise of our mortal coil. The culprit messing up the grand plans of the jet setters? Same as it's always been. The middle-income family and the small business owner-operator who seek pedestrian pursuits like a job or lower energy costs. You are the demons who must be slayed so that noted scientists like Leonardo DiCaprio, Bette Midler, and Governor Moonbeam can remake the world in their image. You left billionaire fossil fuels investor turned megafunder of leftist zealotry Tom Steyer with no choice but to term you traitors and declare war. You see, Trump isn't their real target, you are. And conservation isn't their real goal, control is. The left has been using environmentalism as their cover story to exert control over you for 50 years. Your existence doesn't threaten the planet, just the left's dominion over it.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Lace shorts are in for men this summer, finally.
And later, David French from the National Review will be here to talk about the latest in the London attack. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Here are the stories we're watching at this hour. 2 held after shots were fired at Chicago police. National Weather Service warning of high waves and rip currents along Chicago beaches today. The Taxi Drivers Union is seeking Chicago's help to save the industry. We'll hear from a Chicago congressman confirming that he believes it was the Russians who may have hacked the Illinois Board of Elections. AM 560's David Stewart with an update on that developing story. Cubs beat the Marlins, and they're back tied for first in a weak National League Central. Sunny, breezy, and pleasant in your forecast today with a high of 74 degrees. Mostly sunny right now. WIND Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
In the search for leakers, we have a winner. I'm Dave Anthony. Fox News, an NSA contractor arrested for leaking something top secret about Russian hacking.
Reality Lee Winter, a 25-year-old NSA contractor from Augusta, Georgia, charged with removing and sharing classified materials with the media. The new leak, a classified document that suggests Russia did in fact try to hack our voting system just days before the election. The document was first published Monday on the website The Intercept.
Fox's Griff Jenkins. Winter was active on social media, critical of President Trump. Russia denies it tried to hack our voting systems. ISIS is under attack. A U.S.-backed operation is trying to drive the terrorists out of the Syrian capital of their so-called Islamic State. Fox's Jessica Gallagher live in our Middle East Bureau.
Lieutenant General Townsend, the top U.S. commander in Iraq, says the battle to retake ISIS's de facto capital of Raqqa will be long and difficult. The Kurdish-led forces have surrounded Raqqa from the west, east, and north. SDF forces began advancing toward Raqqa in November and have captured large areas near Raqqa. Lieutenant Townsend, maintaining U.S.-led coalition forces, will continue to support the SDF with equipment, training, logistics, and intelligence. Dave.
Jessica, ISIS claimed responsibility for Saturday's attack in London. We now know who the terrorists were. Fox's Simon Owens, they're live.
Dave, police saying 2 of the attackers were not known to the authorities, but a third was. 27-year-old Kuram Butt was a British citizen born in Pakistan who appeared in a TV documentary last year called The Jihadis Next Door. British Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson admitting concerns.
People are going to say, how on earth could we have let this guy through the net? That is a question that will need to be answered as the investigation goes on.
All 3 attackers were killed by police. Dave?
Fox News, fair and balanced.
57 degrees, sunny skies, winds at 8 miles an hour, 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning, I'm Mike Scott in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. High waves and rip currents prompting warnings from the National Weather Service about hazardous beach conditions today along the Illinois beaches and in Porter and Lake counties in northwest Indiana. Crews remain on the scene of a blaze on Chicago's south side. Fire began early this morning near 78th and Union. The abandoned building has collapsed. Chicago police are questioning 2 after shots were fired at officers in the North Lawndale neighborhood. Authorities say the incident happened last night near 13th and South Troy. There were no officers wounded in the gunfire. 1 man is in custody following a bank robbery on Chicago's southwest side. The FBI says the man robbed the BMO Harris branch yesterday near 64th and Pulaski and was arrested later in the day. A Chicago congressman believes it was the Russians who may have hacked the Illinois Board of Elections. AM 560's David Stewart is monitoring that story this morning.
The Chicago Tribune reports that Mike Quigley, a member of the House Intelligence Committee, says Russian operatives hacked the state elections board and looked at voter database files. News of the hack had previously been reported, but this is the first time the Russians have been named as the ones behind it. Voting machines were not hacked, nor was the software that counts and compiles votes. But Quigley says what was done could be a step towards something more sinister. He says state election boards in Illinois and elsewhere should be given federal funds to protect themselves against more intrusive hacks. David Stewart, NBC News Radio, Chicago.
An investigation is underway after a man was found dead in Montgomery. Police say the victim was discovered yesterday inside a home in the 1900 block of Waverly Way. A woman is accused of stabbing her boyfriend to death last week in Fort Heights. Kiana Kennedy is charged with the murder of Jason Code. Police say the suspect stabbed the victim in the chest during an argument. Kennedy is due in bond court later today. Chris Bryant bashes a 2-run home run in the first. Cubs go on down the Marlins 3-1. White Sox open a 3-game road set with the Rays this evening. Stanley Cup final tied at 2 games each after the Predators' 4-1 win over Pittsburgh. The news, a service of Discover Student Loans. Figuring out how to cover college costs? Discover Student Loans is one of the top private student loan lenders in the country with great rates, 0 fees, plus students can earn a cash reward for their good grades. Visit discoverstudentloans.com to apply today. Limitations apply. 7:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Allergies, pollen in the air, dogs in the house, mold in the basement. Whatever triggers your allergy symptoms, it can really hold you back. Break through with Allegra 5-in-1 Relief. Allegra works fast, won't make you drowsy, provides 24-hour multi-symptom relief, and it's effective every day. Break through allergies with Allegra. Starts working in 1 hour. Use only as directed. Guaranteed or your money back. Visit Allegra.com.
Napa know-how.
When you buy AC Pro refrigerant at Napa for $33.99, it comes with a pressure gauge, quick connect hose, and refrigerant to make just about any car cool again. Old cars, new cars, brown cars, even cars with hand crank windows. If it has 4 wheels and an air conditioner, AC Pro refrigerant for $33.99 can make your car cool. Literally. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 6/30/17.
Greta is a drill instructor.
Move, move, move! Yes, ma'am.
When it comes to training lean, mean, fighting machines, she doesn't mess around.
Drop and give me $3,000.
But when it comes to getting a mortgage, Greta's less confident.
I got nothing.
Fortunately for Greta, there's Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. It's simple, so she can understand the details and know she's getting the right mortgage. Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Apply simply, understand fully, mortgage confidently. Go to rocketmortgage.com today.
Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030.
When smart businesses need to grow their team, they do it on the site proven to deliver, Indeed.com. According to an independent study, Indeed delivers 5 times more hires than any other job site, more hires than the rest combined. And right now we're giving new users a $50 credit to post a sponsored job, boosting your listing in relevant search results. Claim your $50 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Indeed, the world's #1 job site. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
7:06, check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the inbound Edens Expressway, delays start at Niles Center Road. It's 29 minutes from Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 27th. The Kennedy is now 52 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, 22 from Montrose, and 18 on the Express. Outbound, 40 minutes to Montrose, 58 to the airport. The Eisenhower, an hour and 8 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, 51 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 52 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 18 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 49 minutes. Ryan is 35 minutes from 95th to downtown. I-57, Bishop Ford, both 31 minutes from I-80 to the merge. Northbound Tri-State delays, 115th to Archer, and from the Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue curve. Reagan Tollway, 31 to past Farnsworth, Washington to 355 and 83 to the Tri-State. Veterans Memorial, Boughton most of the way to St. Charles, and Army Trail to Lake, traffic service of NTB. Get your 5-quart conventional oil change today, just $19.99 plus $3 disposal fee. Tires, oil, service, and repairs. National Tire and Battery, that's all you need. Traffic answers when you need them most. Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center and our meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today mostly sunny and breezy, high 74. Tonight a moonlit sky, low 54. Sunshine for much of the day tomorrow, high 75, and a clear night, low 53. Partly sunny Thursday, high 79. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
57 at O'Hare. Next news, 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by HealthQuest Radio with Dr. David Kolbaba. HealthQuest Radio is heard Saturday mornings at 11 o'clock here on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And is anybody out there or your children, are you or your children rethinking college? In other words, not going. Not going to college. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 646-36DA, turnkey.pro text line. And not going, not because you don't have the grades, not because you couldn't get into a good school, not because even you couldn't finance it, but because you don't see the value in it. That's the question. Because I think this conversation is starting to happen more. Now, people may still be defaulting to sending their kids to college, just the inertia behind it and the threshold clearer.
Well, teaches them how to live on their own and be independent.
Perhaps.
Well, yeah.
Perhaps it does.
A life lesson you learn when you go to college. Oh, who's doing your laundry? You're doing your own laundry.
Yeah.
You're doing everything.
Well, but you could still be living with mom or dad or mom and dad and go to a commuter school.
Yeah, that's true.
Go to a community college that's local. So it's more than that. And or perhaps it's less than that. And that's why people don't see the value. And I asked that in a couple of contexts. One is, it seems that despite the inertia, despite, employers, BA required, those sorts of things, and this is what helps to perpetuate the cartel, the employers requiring the credential. And I understand that. As a college graduate, law school graduate, I get it. but it's changing. And it seems like over the last 30 years, colleges have invested a lot in things like gender equity. And by the way, women earn 60% of the bachelor's degrees in this country. Is gender equity over? Hey, we won. We've got gender equity plus.
We won.
Well, yeah. Right. I mean, we accomplished the objective.
Here. Yes, we won.
We accomplished the objective. Hey,
so 60%
I'm down with the struggle, sister.
I know 60% of women are graduating from college.
60% of all bachelor's degrees earned are women.
Okay.
Yeah. So
now,
I mean,
guess what? Game over. Okay.
Women in the class of 2016 earned 139 college degrees at every level for every 100 men who earned a college degree.
All right.
So 2.195 million total degrees for women in 2016, 1.585 million total degrees for men.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
you've been served. We win.
Yeah. Congratulations. I don't know.
Winner, chicken dinner.
I don't
There
know.
we go.
I don't know exactly what you won, but congratulations. Now that the data is in, we can agree that gender equity centers don't need to be built. By the way, all these kids, I was just thinking about this yesterday when we were talking about Evergreen State, and they want an equity center for that and an LGBT center. You know what they should do if they're smart, if they were entrepreneurial and they weren't so busy wetting themselves, is start a construction company. Because they're getting these administrators and professors to support building all these buildings. They should vertically integrate. Do the Jesse Jackson shakedown model. Demand change that you personally profit from.
Yeah.
You know? That's if they're entrepreneurial, if they're got their thinking cap on, want to make a little scratch. So here's the thing. This piece in the Wall Street Journal, freshmen and seniors at about 200 colleges across the U.S. take a little-known test. It's called the CLA Plus standardized test, CLA Plus. They take the test every year to measure how much better they got at learning to think. Learning to think. Is that what college is for? Independent living, network building, connections, finding a mate. Used to be the
people used to get their MRS degree. That's what
I know. I tried.
That's what we called it.
I tried to get my MRS degree. No takers.
Sorry.
But think critically.
Well, yeah, and to form an opinion and to learn how to debate and live on your own, and then meet new friends. Just see that there's a bigger world out there.
At more than half of the schools, at least 1/3 of seniors, college seniors, unable to make a cohesive argument, assess the quality of evidence in a document, or interpret data in a table. This is per a Wall Street Journal review of the results found from dozens of public colleges and universities that gave the exam between 2013 and 2016. The test results indicate the average graduate shows little or no improvement in critical thinking during the course of their 4 years in college. So they come in, 1/3 of them. Remember, these are the best and brightest, the highest achievers, generally speaking, except for those high achievers that drop out to go do a trade school or do something entrepreneurial or whatever, go to the Peace Corps. 1/3 of college seniors unable to make a cohesive argument, assess the quality of evidence in a document, or interpret data in a table. This is what the CLA Plus tests in part. You look at spreadsheets and arguments and so forth, and this is the way to test critical thinking skills. University of Virginia sociology professor who co-wrote a book about the CLA Plus test. At most schools in this country, students basically spend 4 years in college, and they don't necessarily become better thinkers and problem solvers. Employers are going to hire the best they can get. If we don't have that, then what is at stake in the long run is our ability to compete. We don't have critical thinkers, which is a synonym for problem solvers, and so you're receding on the global stage in terms of America's competitiveness, in addition to, oh, by the way, the quality of our leadership up and down the food chain in every sector of civil society. So this is a real thing.
And then a lot of people are taking out, second mortgages on their home to pay for their kids' schooling.
No question about it.
I mean, it's unbelievable, the price of 1 year of college. $40,000 is the average right now.
And then this related story, men saying no thanks to college, this out of Colorado, talks about, just interviews a bunch of young men that are saying, look, If you, for example, 28-year-old Adam Stark, if you don't want to go to college, you can go to trade school and come away with something and not be on the hook for $150,000. He dropped out of college and now thriving in the music business in Denver. Others say campus environment is hostile towards men. You definitely get the sense you are the problem. One woman once told me that she could use statistics to determine how many of my friends were rapists. That's welcoming. Another kid, 24-year-old Maxwell, dropped out of local community college. I consider myself mostly self-taught, and I just believe I should cut my own path in life. Okay. All right. What about that? Now, and what about this? Related story just in Illinois, and then we'll get to your calls. This is a story we did in Chicago City Wire. Amidst the budget impasse and higher ed in the state of Illinois, like so many organizations that are reliant, at least in part, on Illinois taxpayer dollars, crying poor, right? We demand more money. We need more money. Student enrollment is falling at NEIU, but the school's expanding structurally, building dorms for students on campus. State taxpayers spend $40 million a year subsidizing NEIU. Fewer than 5% of its students manage to graduate on time. In 2011, just 4% of the 2007 entrants graduated. In 2013, just 5% of the 2009 entrants graduated. This is, in Chicago.
Well, are they going to Northeastern and then transferring to a different school? That's amazing to me. 5% of the class graduated?
Mm-hmm. This is on Chicago's North Park neighborhood. Right, yeah. Right next to TTW. Wilmette talking to Winnetka. I love that. 323 of the NEIU students who entered school as freshmen last August will graduate in May of 2020. Some 1,700 won't. That means state taxpayers will spend the equivalent, Illinois state taxpayers will spend the equivalent of $108,000 per graduate. That's a lot of scratch for not a lot of return. Oh, by the way, in this piece in Chicago City Wire, we list the number of, by name, the number and the names and numbers in terms of salary of all the administrators and faculty members who make more than $100,000. 112 faculty are more than $100,000 before pension and benefit expenses. This is Illinois Board of Higher Education. The president of NEIU, Sharon Haas, are $291,000 salary.
290.
Yeah, and that they recently announced that they're going to lay off 9.5% of their workforce. And of course, this is the part of crying poor. And what are you doing to us? The question is, what is NIU doing to us? Because it doesn't seem like you're producing very much and haven't produced very much over a long period of time. If you look at, given 6 years to finish, 20% of 2007 entrants got a degree. 6 years to finish. 8 years, 27. How long you want to project this out? 1,887 employees NEIU has. One for every 4 students. One for every 4 students. You know what the private sector, and this is a kind of a rough equivalent, but you see this in government all the time. Supervisor to subordinate personnel, you know what the ratio is in the private sector generally? 1 supervisor for every 20 to 24 subordinates. At NEIU, a student is a subordinate. 1 for every 4 students, including 787 faculty members who earned a collective $43 million in 2016. So, back to the original question. Are you going to send your kids to NIU if they go to college? Probably not. But the larger question about college and is it worth what you have to pay? I was at a golf outing yesterday and talking to a guy who's sending his kid to U of I. He's got one more left. He's like, man, we had a really difficult time. Iowa was offering us scholarship money. In-state tuition at U of I is $31,000.
Oh. And that's in-state?
In-state. All in. All in, I should say,
right,
not just
still.
tuition, but all in. Right. It's $31,000 a year.
312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line.
And of course, by the way, I make this point before, but it bears repeating. Illinois provides twice as much per pupil state support for higher ed as compared to our Midwest neighbors and their conference peers, our schools versus their schools. And yet tuition is 25 to 50% higher at state schools in Illinois for in-state families as compared to the residents of our neighboring states for their conference peers. So you're subsidizing higher tuition for Illinois families while Illinois families are getting stuck on both ends. We're sending more of your tax dollars to higher ed so that you can pay higher tuition when your kids go to those schools. Just one scam on top of another. All right, we're going to take a break, and we'll take your calls, so stick on the lines, and we got a couple open, so you can call us at 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Hayek, you mentioned you played golf yesterday, and my heart was racing for your new dog, Hayek. Do you have a dog walker? Or?
He caddied for me like Pappy Van Winkle's dog used to caddy for him. I just attached a cart with a bag to him, and he's young, but he's strong.
You're like Mongo. He always would bring his chihuahuas with him in the golf cart. Today, plenty of sunshine, breezy, great day for golf, a high of 74. Tonight, a moonlit sky, and tomorrow, play golf again. It's going to be picture perfect, plenty of sunshine, and a high of 75 degrees. Let's get into our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. How's the drive going? Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. It's pretty heavy on the inbound Eisenhower and Stevenson, especially. The Ike is an hour and 18 minutes now from Thorndale to downtown, 56 minutes from Manheim, up on 52 to Thorndale. And the Stevenson is an hour and 18 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 49 minutes. The Eden's 25 minutes, Lake Cook Junction, outbound 32. The Kennedy, 52 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 58. The Ryan from 95th to downtown, now 39 minutes. See delays on the Tri-State northbound, 115th to 31st. And from the Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue curve, Adams Tollway's good, but the Reagan Tollway's heavy. 31 to past Farnsworth. Washington to 355 after a crash. 83 to the Tri-State. Veterans Memorial, slow Boughton most of the way to St. Charles, and from the Army Trail Toll to Lake. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Speaking of golf, the Bolingbrook Golf Club, that is the location of our annual golf outing this year, sponsored in part by Joe Cotton Ford. But there's more than just golf at the Bolingbrook Golf Club. Celebrate Independence Day at the Bolingbrook Golf Club this year, complete with food, fun, and fireworks. Find out all the details at BolingbrookGolfClub.com. That's BolingbrookGolfClub.com.
There's so much to look forward to as the weather gets warmer. Outdoor sports and activities, backyard parties, and graduations. For your next celebration, party, or get-together, leave the eats to Augustino's Rock and Roll Deli. Whether it's around your table or theirs, Augie's is the place where sports teams, families, and friends celebrate with great food at a great price for almost 40 years. Try their signature subs, freshly made and fully loaded with the highest quality meats and cheese. Or choose from their fresh, never-frozen half-pound Angus beef burgers, authentic homemade Italian beef sandwiches, hand-rolled meatballs, pizza, and fresh salads. Dine in, surrounded by authentic rock and roll memorabilia, or phone ahead for orders to go. Whatever works for your team, Augie's offers fast, fresh, affordable food designed to make your special time with friends and family simple and easy. Augustino's Rock and Roll Deli in Carroll Stream or West Chicago. Don't forget to check out their extensive catering menu at augustinos.com. This season, let the good times happen with Augustino's Rock and Roll Deli.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I'm telling you right now, it's awesome. I was trying to get my blood pressure regulated, okay? And like after 3 days of taking this thing, my blood pressure went back down to normal. I am ecstatic. I am so happy with this stuff. It is my savior.
This was the first summer that I have not had to have a steroid shot to help me to breathe.
The reason why I'm taking it because I've got Hep C. Once I began taking your stuff, it took a few months, but believe it or not, my liver enzymes are way down and it's normal now. It works.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free. And we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life, but I should have ordered it like 15 years ago.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Dave Geiselhart, president and owner of Home Trust Mortgage and customer of Signature Bank. When the large banks turned away from the mortgage lending industry during the financial crisis, I turned to locally owned Signature Bank. Signature Bank stepped in and helped me expand our business at a time when the larger banks wouldn't. Today, I'm proud to say Home Trust Mortgage has been able to expand our business in Illinois and the Great Lakes region. We couldn't have done that without the help of Signature Bank. Signature Bank truly helps Chicago businesses like mine grow and thrive. That's why we also became personal customers and shareholders of Signature Bank, Chicago's business bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, you've heard how Automated Systems excels at assisting companies with systems integration and FDA compliance, but they're also a staffing leader. They supply handpicked elite leadership, subject matter experts, and proven technical professionals in engineering, quality control, and FDA compliance to support the life sciences field in executing mission-critical projects. ASI provides highly specialized pros to deliver projects on time and budget. Don't pay a lot more to a big consulting firm, and don't trust the big temp agencies to supply the talent you need. Call Laz, my friend Laz at Automated Systems, when failure isn't an option. ASI is retained by all of Chicagoland's Fortune 500 life sciences companies, from big pharma to startups, and excel through a culture of excellence in execution. For a staffing, compliance, or automation evaluation, call Laz now at Automated Systems at 844-HIRE-ASI or visit AutomatedSYS.com. That's 844-HIRE-ASI or AutomatedSYS.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy are talking about college and whether you're reconsidering sending your kids there or whether you're reconsidering going. If you are a young person, but it doesn't need to be a young person, you can always go back. Carolyn on the west side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, Dan and Amy. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Thank you for taking my call. I'm very passionate about this, so I had to call in. I didn't start going to college till I was about 34. I didn't have the confidence to go, although I had a thriving business in downtown Chicago. So I started going to a 2-year college, and I started getting A's, and I continued to push myself while I worked full-time. And then I eventually, because of my grades, I was able to receive an academic scholarship after I was done with 2-year college, although it took many years to do that. But so there's academic scholarships out there, and all my credits transferred. I was taking classes like chemistry, calculus, not fluff classes. And then I actually got into Northwestern to get my master's, and they were not prejudiced against my 2-year college on my academic resume.
Well, yeah.
How about that?
That's great,
Good for you.
because you had a work history, too. That helps a lot, and it's good because it diversifies the student body, and you bring experiences to the table that a lot of those other students don't have, so it's great. Thanks for the call, Carolyn. Appreciate it. Congratulations on your success. Chris in Kansasville, Wisconsin.
Yeah, I just had this conversation within the last 2 weeks with my daughter that's a junior, and she's just not sure she wants to go to college. And I told her, I said, well, you have 2 brothers that are welders and one that's a plumber. So you have other options. That's not a big deal. And now her sister is a junior in college. And for Amy's looking into colleges, this is one I would check out. It's Kettering University in Flint, Michigan.
Yeah, I've heard of it. All right. Thanks for the call, Chris. Tell your daughter who's thinking about whether or not to follow her brothers. She can just follow her brothers into being a welder or plumber, only if she wants to be a millionaire. Up to her. Jeff and Gurnee, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Morning, Dan. Morning, Amy.
Morning.
Well, today is June 6th, and I get to deal with a 100% increase in my property taxes in the last 12 years. So that's just a side. But after $240,000 for 2 kids to go to college, Snowflake safe spaces. And I just heard on your guy Prager on how to raise a boy feminist yesterday. And my wife and I are talking. We're like, why should we send them to college so that they can, get brainwashed? And my daughter loves to cook. She can go to culinary school and go anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
My son, same thing. He could be a welder, plumber, electrician, go anywhere in the world, learn a trade, be done. It just it's very frustrating to keep watching the news and everything else, and you're just spitting money away for turning people into brainwash people. So
thanks for the call, Jeff. Mike and Bartlett, quickly. We got 20 seconds.
Good morning, Dan and Nate. Love your show.
Thank
Great
you.
to talk to you. I just wanted to share quickly an approach that's worked really well for us. We have triplets.
Wow.
We sent all three kids to local junior college. It was intimidating, the idea of paying 3 college tuitions at one time, but the junior college, Elgin Community College, worked very well for us. After they finished there, my son went to Champaign. He lived off campus in a Christian-based house that charged $4,000 a year. That included room and board, versus $11,000 or $12,000 in a dorm. So all in, he was able to graduate from Champaign at a fraction of the cost that it would have been had we sent him there as a fresh out of high school. One of my daughters went on from ECC to Elmhurst College, got some scholarships there, and again, that really helped with the cost. So it's a very viable option. There's some peer pressure to go off to a 4-year school.
You're right.
But if you can avoid that,
You're right, Mike.
the junior college route's great.
And I'll tell you what, to defray some of the costs, you should open a consultancy, and how you do it for other parents is very good. Thanks for the call, Mike. Appreciate it.
What do you call COD again?
UCLA, university closest to the Lombard area.
What? Coming up on Chicago's Morning
I'll
Answer.
talk to constitutional lawyer, National Review columnist David French at 7:37.
And later, Governor Blagojevich denied again. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
58 degrees, sunny skies in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. Police have identified another victim of the London Bridge attacks as an Australian nurse, Christy Bowden, releasing a statement from her family praising her work and her efforts to help other victims. Metropolitan Police issued a statement on behalf of the family saying she ran towards danger to help people and then lost her life. Federal contractor is under arrest for allegedly leaking a classified NSA report on Russian hacking to the website The Intercept. The report says Russian intelligence agents use so-called spear phishing emails to try and launch a cyber attack. A new report also outlines efforts by Russian intelligence agents to hack into U.S. voting systems. The 120 email addresses linked with local government organizations have been found. A Florida community mourning today after a disgruntled former employee went on a shooting rampage that killed 5 at an Orlando business. John Robert Newman shot and killed himself as deputies arrived. Well, another city with another soda tax, Seattle, slapping a heavy tax on your local drink. City Council yesterday voted to tax sugary drinks as a way to get people, particularly children, to cut down on the unhealthy stuff. They say the tax that takes effect next year in Seattle will add $1.20 to a 2-liter bottle of soda. High waves in the water off Chicago beaches and in northwest Indiana, prompting a warning from the National Weather Service about the wave height, 5 to 8 feet, and rip currents. Chicago police are questioning 2 after shots were fired at officers in the North Lawndale neighborhood. It happened last night near 13th and South Troy. Former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich will not get a rehearing. Former governor convicted in 2011 of misusing his power. He was accused of trying to broker a deal to fill the U.S. Senate seat vacated in 2008 when Barack Obama became president-elect. U.S. Supreme Court is now his only chance to get that corruption conviction overturned. Chris Bryant, a 2-run bomb in the first. Cubs down the Marlins 3-1. White Sox open a 3-game road set with the Rays this evening. The news, a service of Discover Student Loans. Figuring out how to cover college costs. Discover Student Loans, one of the top private student loan lenders in the country with great rates, 0 fees, plus students can earn a cash reward for their good grades. Visit discoverstudentloans.com to apply today. Restrictions apply. 7:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Trust CLR, celebrating 50 years of making quick work of tough jobs. Find them on Facebook to find out how you can win tickets to an anniversary concert with the band Chicago.
Kyle is a dog trainer.
Okay, sit. Good boy.
In his personal time, Kyle's a personal trainer.
1, 2, good.
Kyle knows how to get results, but when it comes to mortgages, he's less confident.
Guilty as charged.
Fortunately, there's Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. It's simple, so he can understand the details and know he's getting the right mortgage. Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Apply simply, understand fully, mortgage confidently. Go to rocketmortgage.com today.
Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030.
What's the scariest thing about going to the dentist? Opening your mouth or opening your wallet? Because just a simple cleaning can cost $100, and things like root canals can cost you hundreds more. If you don't have dental insurance to help, you should give Physicians Mutual Insurance Company a call. 1-800-400-4811. This isn't a discount plan or preventive-only coverage. This is real dental insurance that helps pay for checkups right away, so you can call today and get your teeth cleaned tomorrow. Plus, it helps cover the more expensive procedures you might need down the road. Fillings, crowns, bridges, even costly dentures. There's no deductible and no annual maximum. Your acceptance is guaranteed for one of these insurance policies, even if you're retired or on Medicare. There are no networks, so you can choose any dentist you'd like. That's right, any dentist you want. Call and we'll rush you a free information kit with all the details. 1-800-400-4811. That's 1-800-400-4811. 1-800-400-4811.
7:37. Let's check the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim.
Mike, the Reagan Tollway is jammed from Orchard most of the way to 355. It's an earlier crash, then from Myers to the Tri-State. Eden's 22 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose outbound 40. The Kennedy an hour and 7 minutes. O'Hare to downtown outbound an hour and 2 minutes. The Eisenhower an hour 18. Thorndale to downtown outbound an hour 17. Stevenson an hour and 20 minutes. 355 to the drive outbound 48 minutes. Bryan 39 minutes. 95th to downtown. Traffic is a service of LifeLock. Some mornings opening your eyes is hard, but LifeLock's eyes are already open to a wide range of identity threats. Stuff you can't see just by monitoring your credit. If something happens, U.S.-based specialists can work to fix it. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code RISK. Save 10%. It's traffic. AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Sunny, breezy, pleasant. High 74. Moonlit sky overnight again. Low 54. Currently 58. Next news coming up at 8. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is powered by CharlesEquipment.com. Weathering every storm and keeping the lights on.
AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Interesting music choice.
I don't know about this intro music, but it's here. Puts a little pep in your step, huh?
So, regarding the London terrorist attack and the terrorists, all of whom have been identified now, the third this morning. But the one that is of most interest is the one that was featured in a Channel 4 documentary in England.
The title was The Jihadist Next Door.
Right.
And he had an ISIS flag, and they're proponents of Sharia law, and they were having a prayer service with this black ISIS flag in a park. And they were confronted by police at the time and questioned for about an hour. But they still didn't put him on the top of the list.
Well, right.
For possible jihadist behavior.
I mean, Mark Stein was on Fox and Friends yesterday, and not to make light of it, but sarcasm to a point.
So he's basically up for a posthumous Emmy nomination for Best Jihadist in a British Extremism documentary. This is a ridiculous way of allowing yourself to be hollowed out by these people.
But Mark, what you could do, Mark? Well, and this is calls to mind the Tsarnaev brothers, the Boston Marathon bombers. They were on FBI's radar. They had intelligence about their trips to Chechnya. And why wasn't more done to prevent them from doing what they did. Now Britain and London asking themselves the same questions. MI5, London law enforcement asking themselves the same question. Why don't we bring in our friend David French to get his answer? David French, of course, writer at National Review, constitutional lawyer, veteran of Operation Iraqi Freedom, and best-selling author. Always a pleasure to talk. David, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Well, thanks so much for having me.
So your reaction to what we now know about the three terrorists who committed the atrocity on Saturday night, and particularly the one who was profiled in this documentary, starting with the idea of a documentary saying the jihadists next door and these guys praying to the black Islamic terrorist flag, and that, registering on the radar of MI5, but we don't know that any more than that occurred.
Yeah, the thing that Britain has to face is that it has so many people like that tracking all of them is virtually impossible. I've seen estimates that there are up to 23,000 people in Britain who've expressed sort of similar kinds of sympathies, who've been on the British radar screen of law enforcement to at least some degree. So they have a huge scale problem. And, the fact of the matter is, if you're going to try to track and surveil everybody who expresses sympathy for ISIS, you're going to swap security services immediately. And so you're going to have this situation happen again and again and again, where you're going to have people who exhibited all these warning signs, and then they actually do attack, and people say, well, why wasn't this stopped? Why wasn't this prevented? But there's just so many of these guys.
Well, he was so extreme, though, that he got kicked out of his mosque. I mean, the imam told Richard Engel yesterday from NBC News that they asked him not to come back. And why didn't they report that to authorities? Because I'm under the impression if you get kicked out of your mosque, you should get kicked out of the country.
Right. I mean, in the bombing in Manchester, it turns out that person was on the radar screen. I mean, again, you're going to find this happening all the time. And the Orlando nightclub shooting, that was somebody who was on the radar screen of the FBI. This is something that happens all the time. And so what you have here is you have these jihadists. They exploit the liberty that Western democracies give their citizens. So unless you take overt acts to further, your jihadist sympathies, unless you take actual action, a lot of this stuff is going to be, here in the United States, it will be constitutionally protected advocacy. It's not quite the same situation over in Britain, but there's a high degree of tolerance for extremist leanings. And so you're going to have all these folks who express these sympathies, which land them on the radar screen of law enforcement, but until they do something overt, law enforcement's hands are tied. And so we'll have this situation happen over and over and over. And there's just simply not the law enforcement resources to follow everybody and to track everybody. And what this illustrates is it kind of gives the lie to this notion that the problem is just this tiny, tiny, tiny few extremists. No, extremist ideology is widespread enough within some of these Muslim communities that it's literally impossible to track everybody who exhibits it. Now, the documentary point here, this is something that if somebody's featured in a documentary, it kind of stands to reason that maybe they should be under a greater degree of surveillance. But again, you get back to the same problem. What is the illegal act that they do that would cause law enforcement to take decisive action?
The interesting thing, though, is Theresa May's remarks on Sunday, 4 points that were much more specific than you have heard from politicians in the wake of terrorist attacks like this, and partly because she's facing an election on Thursday. But it included really more regulation of the internet, and it also included a discussion, or at least a reference to doing more to change how we go after people that are suspected of being radicalized, both from a law enforcement perspective, in the public sector, as well as in the culture writ large. And she made even a specific reference to expanding domestic police powers. And we're getting, because of what this problem that the Western world has allowed to metastasize. We're getting to a dangerous place where Nigel Farage over the weekend was even talking about people are going to be calling for internment of the 3,000 Muslims on the watch list, if you will, in Britain. And I know that's Britain, but boy, that is really a scary place to go to. And if it happens in one country, it's going to be discussed in others. We're kind of on to my mind, and perhaps to yours as a constitutional attorney, we're going down a very dark road.
Well, and people forget or don't realize that Britain already has a surveillance state that is broader than anything that we have in the United States.
CCTV. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, look, here's the thing that people don't, here's the elephant under the rug that no one's talking about. Why isn't there a greater military effort against ISIS? So, again and again, you have these people who are inspired by ISIS. And often the more you learn about the attack, the more you learn that they've actually been directed by ISIS, maybe even trained by ISIS or instructed from afar. Why is it that ISIS is allowed to continue to have this safe haven? And I'll tell you why. It's because the populations of Britain and the United States and other Western democracies aren't willing to support a larger military effort. So if you're not willing to knock ISIS out, then what is it that you're going to be able to do? I mean, even if you close the borders right now, you already have these huge Muslim populations in many of these countries that are being radicalized. So, to my mind, if your choice is between greater curtailment of civil liberties or actually using the militaries for the purposes that they were designed, for the job that men and women volunteered to do, you let these men and women do the job they're volunteered to do. But that just seems to be off the table, and that is not something that I can understand.
Well, what about something, this just seems so basic. The third suspect who was named today, he actually went to Syria and fought for ISIS and then was let back into the UK. How do you let that happen? Because there were reports this morning, there's almost 900 people in the UK who went to fight for ISIS who are now back in various parts of the UK.
Well, number one, if they knew he fought for ISIS and they let him back in, that's just sheer insanity.
Right.
But if they didn't know he fought for ISIS, what's happening, and we see this in the United States, is you're being called an Islamophobe and a bigot if you say, well, someone's traveling to and from Syria, we should not let them in the country. Well, then you're being accused of profiling, you're being accused of bigotry, you're being accused of Islamophobia. I mean, you saw this with the guy who traveled to and from Libya in the Manchester bombing. Libya and Syria are both countries that are on the list that would be subject to the travel pause under the Trump immigration executive order. And you hear it all the time here in the U.S. Well, this is Islamophobia, this bigotry. Look, if somebody's got on their passport travel to and from these jihadist-infested countries, there needs to be some extraordinary scrutiny at the very least. And I would say absent compelling reason, they shouldn't be let back in the country. But again, we're going to be in this position time and again where someone says, well, look at all these warning signs. Why wasn't action taken? And the answer is going to be the same each and every time. It's because there are so many people like this that if you took the action that would have been necessary to prevent it, you'd be taking action on a scale that, guess what, the people aren't willing to see happen. And so, again, we kick the can down the road, we stick our heads back in the sand, and we don't take the military action or the immigration action necessary to really diminish this threat.
Back at home, talking about the national security and the protection of classified information, is Jeff Sessions going to turn out to be the little Dutch boy who saves the Trump administration from leaks within the intelligence community after making an example of this Reality Lee Winner federal contractor that was charged yesterday for sending classified material ostensibly to The Intercept, this NSA report about Russian attempts to hack local election authorities just days before the November 2016 election.
Yeah, I mean, that's a no-brainer of an arrest. Any administration would have arrested this person. And it looks like she was actually burned by the Intercept itself as they shared the document with with federal officials that led them to hunt their systems and find out who accessed it and who transmitted it. Look, this is an easy call to arrest a person who's done something like that. The Obama administration prosecuted more leakers than the previous 3 administrations combined. So this is something that's a modern trend, and I think it's the correct trend when you're talking about prosecuting leakers. We need to be careful that the Trump administration not do what the Obama administration did and surveil the press. But prosecuting leakers, people who are taking it upon themselves to violate their promises and violate the law, to share documents just because they believe, they have their own political purposes. I mean, you can't have that. You've got to confront that.
He is David French, writer at National Review, nationalreview.com, always worth a read, constitutional lawyer, best-selling author, and also someone who served our country honorably in Operation Iraqi Freedom. David, thanks so much for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The secret to how the rich keep getting richer is by passing down their wealth, generation to generation. If you do the same thing, you'll be leaving a legacy and be doing one of the most important things possible for the people you love. The ugly truth is, you don't have an estate plan. Everything you own, including your house, cars, investments, everything could be tied up in courts for a year or longer. It could cost your estate tens of thousands of dollars in probate and legal fees, even double government taxation. You can avoid this painful, costly mistake by contacting Tom Fortino of the Alpha Wealth Group. Tom hosts the Alpha Wealth Hour, heard Saturday mornings at 9 on AM 560, and has been a featured expert on Fox Business, Fortune, and Money Magazine. Right now, Alpha Wealth Group is offering you a free estate planning kit if you call 630-873-6326. That's 630-873-6326. 630-873-6326. Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Wealth Advisors, Inc.
By the way, just on that hacking or the Intercept story and then the outing of this contractor.
Yeah, what's her name? Reality Winner?
Yeah, Reality Winner. There's a great piece in a blog called Errata Security, and I'm a cybersecurity dolt. I don't know anything about it. Yeah. And it goes through how the Intercept, by releasing documents, provided the identity of Miss Winner that led authorities to her because of the way printers print yellow dots that track exactly when and where documents are printed. And because the NSA logs all printing jobs on its printers, it can use this to match up precisely who printed the document. It's really cool. Errata, ERRATA, security is the blog post that explains it. It's just kind of interesting. Speaking of David French, who we were just speaking with, great against the current interview I did with David a few weeks back. You can get that at upstream-ideas.com, along with podcasts of our Illinois Rising program, my 60 Seconds of Sanity commentaries this week on the Paris Accord, and the history of the left using environmentalism as a predicate to control over your lives. Trump's not the problem. You are, for the radical environmentalists and the left. And I repeat myself, as well as Man on the Street, Follow the Logic segments. It's all at upstream-ideas.com.
If your roof is needy, if your roof is leaky,
call Grumweedy.
If your roof isn't right after it's stormy and shingles are curly,
call Grumweedy.
If your roof is looking needy, call Crumweedy. This is Mark Olson of Crumweedy.
And I'm Greg Olson from Crumweedy. We are a third-generation family-run business. We've been doing Chicagoland roofs since 1953.
You really can't do that unless you do really amazing roofs. We share the same conservative values as you, and we really want to do your roof. Here's what you can expect.
First, no high pressure. You make the choice. Whatever option you choose, count on getting a roof that lasts at a fair price.
You see, application is really the key. We follow the manufacturer's specifications so your warranty is intact. You know, a lot of companies don't do that, and that could really void your warranty.
No horror stories here. The roof you need that will fix your problems. When your roof is needy,
call Grumweedy.
For your needy roof, go to myroofisneedy.com. myroofisneedy.com.
Hey, your kids won't be thinking about school very much over the summer, but it's a perfect time for you to think about where you'll be sending your child back to school this fall. And more parents are thinking about private schools, and maybe that's you. Well, private school has never been more affordable thanks to our friends at halfpriceschools.com, where you can find tuition vouchers for for private schools across the Chicagoland area, available at half off the normal price. There's no catch. Real simple. Find a school near you, purchase the tuition voucher, and prepare to send your child off to school this fall. HalfPriceSchools.com has schools located all across the Chicagoland area, including Oak Lawn, Bensonville, Downers Grove, Chicago, South Holland, just to name a few. But don't delay. Summer won't last forever, and school will be starting again before you know it. Visit HalfPriceSchools.com today, and keep in mind that many of these vouchers have already sold out, so don't wait. Do it now. HalfPriceSchools.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I had gout in both my knees, and it's gone.
Well, I'm pretty stupid. I should have ordered it 15 years ago. It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life.
He had eczema on his hand, and it cracked for years. He did anything from doctor, every cream, everything. And 3 months on the veggies and fruit, it was gone.
They're just awesome. They keep asking me, what am I doing? I told them what I did with my cholesterol. I had the blood test, right? And it went down 100 points. 262, now it's 162. Everything is just perfect.
Balance of Nature is celebrating its 20th anniversary by providing you the best offer they've ever given. 2 free months of fruits and veggies and free shipping. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
The performance, conduct, and sustainability of organizations are a direct result of leadership. A leader's impact can be profoundly good or bad. We've experienced the devastating impact of unethical, selfish, and corrupt leaders. We've also experienced the impact of good and caring leaders whose honesty, integrity, and ethical conduct have created great organizations and a legacy of goodwill. Our challenging times require courageous, values-driven leaders to step up to these challenges. My name is Rich Panico. I am the founder and CEO of Integrated Project Management Company, IPM. I am blessed to lead a wonderful family of talented and caring leaders. Join us as we strive to change the world, one project at a time.
Trust IPM, the consulting industry's leader at executing your critical initiatives. For almost 3 decades, IPM has planned and executed projects in the life sciences, healthcare, consumer, and industrial sectors with honesty and integrity. Visit IPMCinc.com. That's IPMCinc.com. Or call Integrated Project Management's Chicago office at 630-789-8600.
The IRS doesn't mess around. If they want your money, they'll take it. They can take your paycheck and bank accounts too, even threaten your home or business. And it's about to get worse. The IRS just hired an army of new tax enforcers. So, if you owe back taxes, the smartest thing you can do is call Optima Tax Relief. Optima has access to a special IRS tax assistance program called the Fresh Start Initiative. And their clients that qualify are saving thousands, even tens of thousands. One call starts the process to stop the demand letters, stop aggressive collection actions, and stop that army of new enforcers from targeting you. But don't delay. It's important to act now while you still have options. Optima is A-rated with the Better Business Bureau. Optima has already resolved over $500 million of tax debt for their clients. Get your life back. Call now for your free consultation.
Call 800-711-5743. 800-711-5743. 800-711-5743. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
AM 560. The Answer.
Real quick, breaking news and pop news. Al Pacino is going to play Joe Paterno in the Sandusky movie.
I could see that. I could see that.
Perfect casting. Yeah. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Well, how does one Republican former reality TV star assess the Republican former reality TV star in the White House? We'll talk to Wisconsin Congressman Sean Duffy at 8:08.
And you have to hear this. There's a new ringtone for Chicagoans who are here illegally. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, here are the stories we're watching right now in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. 2 are held after shots are fired at Chicago police overnight. The taxi driver union is seeking Chicago's help to save the industry. And a man found dead in a Montgomery home. Cubs beat the Marlins. A mostly sunny, breezy day ahead. WIND Chicago News Time is 8 o'clock.
She did not like President Trump. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The NSA contractor arrested in the leak of a top-secret document to the media showing Russia tried to hack into voting systems before the election has a history online of criticizing the president. Fox's Carly Shimkus has more live.
Dave, through her social media posts, we're learning more about 25-year-old reality Lee Winner, who
who shared her anti-Trump views on Twitter using the name Sarah Winners. In November, she took to Twitter writing, "Not my president," hashtag recount 2016. And then in January, she tweeted hashtag not my wall. In other social media posts, she used profane language against the president and wrote about her climate change concerns. Winner is following 50 people on Twitter, including Edward Snowden, WikiLeaks, and hacker group Anonymous. Dave?
Carly, of course, President Trump loves to tweet, even tweeting about it this morning, that the media is trying to get him to stop, hating that he can get the honest and unfiltered message out. Then the president added, "Sorry, folks. If he relied on fake news, he would have had zero chance of winning the White House." British authorities have now ID'd all 3 terrorists who drove into people on London Bridge, then stabbed others, leaving 7 dead.
I was actually encouraged when I heard on the news this morning that a number of imams in London have condemned these attackers and said they will not perform prayer services over their funerals, which means they're condemning their souls.
Secretary of State Tillerson in New Zealand. 2 of the men were not known to police. A third was in a TV documentary last year called The Jihadis Next Door. Syrian rebels backed by America have started a battle to drive ISIS out of Raqqa, the capital of their so-called Islamic State. Vice President Pence is at the National Catholic Prayer Breakfast honoring the victims of recent terror attacks.
They have our prayers. They have our unwavering resolve.
He echoed the president's comments. This bloodshed will end. Russia denies it tried to hack into U.S. voting systems. Its defense ministry also says a Russian fighter jet intercepted a U.S. bomber flying near Russian airspace in the Baltic Sea and escorted it farther away. Fox News, fair and balanced.
58 degrees, sunny skies at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. High waves in the water off the Lake Michigan beaches here in Chicago and in northwest Indiana, prompting warnings from the National Weather Service about hazardous conditions on the lake and rip currents. By the way, there have already been 20 drownings on the Great Lakes this year, half of which have been in Lake Michigan. Crews remain at the scene of a blaze on Chicago's south side, mopping up after the blaze broke out in an abandoned building near 78th and Union. A woman is accused of stabbing her boyfriend to death in Fort Heights. Kiana Kennedy is charged with murdering Jason Code late last week. She is due in bond court later today. Chicago trader is heading to prison for a year and a day for stealing trade secrets to start his own competing firm. 34-year-old David Newman admitted to stealing about 400,000 files of trading software that his employer, WH Trading, had developed over 15 years. A union representing taxi drivers in Chicago says the city needs to make changes in order to help a dying industry. Cab Drivers United spokesperson Tracy Abrams says city officials have not done enough to help taxi drivers compete in the era of ride-sharing.
We are asking the city to work with us to address this concern before the industry collapses, because there are people who need those services.
Union leaders are asking the city to ease vehicle restrictions on operators and waive a monthly tax and eliminate other fees. Cubs over the Marlins 3-1. White Sox take on the Rays this evening. The news a service of NTB. Get your 5-quart conventional oil change today, just $19.99, plus $3 disposal fee for tires, oil service, and repairs. National Tire and Battery. That's all you need. 8:04. Let's get an update from the AM 560 Business Beat desk and the Fox Business Network, a service of Turnkey.pro. The latest with Jenny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, Apple's new HomePod Siri speaker system just unveiled won't be on the market until December and will cost nearly $350, approximately twice as much as competing systems. Mark Lehman of JMP Securities says Apple is betting you'll be willing to pay more to get its quality.
There is a cachet to Apple products, obviously, that they have garnered, and I think they think they're going to be able to do that. We saw it with a little bit with a watch. We've seen it with a little bit with their earbuds. We've seen it with a few things.
Amazon.com is offering a new discounted version of Prime for shoppers who receive food stamps. SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. It will cost $5.99 a month. Both Amazon.com and now Alphabet shares have topped the $1,000 mark for the first time. Alphabet, Google's parent company, has been reluctant to split its stock. The Dow closed down 22 yesterday. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Jenny Cosola.
8:05 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Acme Home Insurance.
Yes, I'd like to make a claim.
What are you wanting to claim, sir?
My air conditioner broke down.
Sorry, but your home insurance doesn't cover air conditioner breakdowns.
So what do you cover?
Home damage from things like earthquakes, volcanoes, a zombie apocalypse.
A zombie apocalypse? But that'll never happen.
But if it did, you'd be covered, sir.
But not my air conditioner?
I'm afraid not.
But his air conditioner could have been covered with a home warranty from American Home Shield, plus components of 20 other major home systems and appliances, like his electrical system, plumbing, refrigerator, and more. For valuable free information, call 1-800-400-5602. Home insurance can cover what might happen.
Zombies are coming!
But a home warranty helps cover what will happen.
Now the dryer won't work.
Life happens. Have a plan. Get a home warranty from American Home Shield. For valuable free information, call 1-800-400-5602. That's 1-800-400-5602. 1-800-400-5602.
Kyle is a dog trainer.
Okay, sit. Good boy.
In his personal time, Kyle's a personal trainer.
1, 2, good.
Kyle knows how to get results, but when it comes to mortgages, he's less confident.
Guilty as charged.
Fortunately, there's Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. It's simple, so he can understand the details and know he's getting the right mortgage. Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Apply simply, understand fully, mortgage confidently. Go to rocketmortgage.com today.
Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030.
When you're hiring for a growing business, you don't need lots of candidates. You need the right candidates. You need Indeed.com. With an algorithm that positions your job post where quality candidates are and screener questions that help you zero in on the best talent. Indeed.com, the site proven through an independent study to deliver 5 times more hires than any other. New users claim your $50 credit for a sponsored job at Indeed.com/credit. Indeed, the world's #1 job site. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
8:07. Let's get an update on the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Tri-State Tollway southbound, it's heavy, 132 to Atkinson, and from the Adams Tollway to the Irving Park Toll Plaza, northbound jammed. Cicero to the Hinsdale Oasis, and from the Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue Curve. Adams Tollway a little slow, lead to the Tri-State. Reagan Tollway really brutal this morning with delays from Randall to Naperville Road and 355 to the Tri-State. Veterans Memorial, slow Boughton to the Reagan Tollway and Butterfield to 290. The Edens runs 22 minutes, Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 42. The Kennedy, an hour and 10 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, 33 minutes from Montrose, 28 in the Express, outbound an hour and 11 minutes to the airport. The Eisenhower, an hour and 28 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, an hour 6 from Manheim, outbound an hour 11 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 20 minutes, 355 to the drive, outbound 46 minutes. Ryan is 35 minutes, 95th to downtown. 8094 has eastbound delays central to Ripley, westbound I-65 decline. Traffic answers when you need them most. Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center with our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Breezy today with wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour. Otherwise, mostly sunny, high 74. A moonlit sky for tonight with a low 54. Then we will see sunshine throughout much of the day tomorrow, high 75. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
60 at O'Hare, 57 along the lakefront. Your next news update, 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Turnkey IT, giving you the freedom to focus on your business while they handle the technical stuff. Turnkey IT.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And Amy, our next guest, kind of uniquely positioned to rate the President of the United States because they're both Republicans, okay?
Yes.
They're both in elective office, okay, but they're both former reality television stars.
Ah.
Yeah, like you hope to be in Sweden someday.
Yeah, Alt för Sverige.
No,
it's called Alt för Sverige. It's where, it's similar to The Amazing Race and Who Am I combined.
Can I just say Saab? That's a Swedish word I know. He is Congressman Sean Duffy. He's from way north in Wisconsin.
Ashland, Wisconsin, I think.
Yeah, I think his district goes like from the Dells, like it goes north of Minneapolis. That's
Okay.
how far north he goes in Wisconsin, how far north Wisconsin goes. Maybe he can get you and the Peyton and Eli some passes to the Tommy Bartlett Water Show this summer, if you play your cards right. He's also married. We've talked to his wife before, Rachel Campos Duffy. So they are a power couple. They were featured at the Republican convention last year as well.
And they have 8 children, so they're very busy.
So
wow, you
impressive.
can't get a minivan big enough for that.
That is impressive. Congressman Sean Duffy, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, Dan and Amy, it's great to be with you guys as well. Thanks for having me on.
Pleasure. And so the Wall Street Journal really torched President Trump today over 2 matters in the wake of Saturday night's terrorist attack. One is getting into what they term unnecessary personal squabbles. They're specifically, of course, talking about with London Mayor Sadiq Khan. And then secondly is tweeting such that he undermines his own administration and its personnel. And they're talking, of course, about the travel ban and him saying, I don't care what the lawyers say, effectively, it's a travel ban, blah, 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 and rather than just letting Jeff Sessions and the Department of Justice litigate the matter before the Supreme Court without creating distractions. Do you think those are fair criticisms? Where do you come down on those matters?
Well, listen, I've been a long-time supporter of the president, but I think when he does things that are wrong, it's important that we call him out. And this, with regard to the travel ban, it truly is a pause. It's a 90-day pause to go through a greater vetting process to make sure we're allowing people in who are true refugees and they're not people who are extremist radicals that have infiltrated the program and are going to make it into the U.S. So it is a pause. And I think, the president's tweet makes it that much more difficult to get over the hurdle of our courts. I think that's counterproductive, number one. But on a positive side, this guy's not a politician, and he says what he thinks. You go back to the firing of Jim Comey. Most politicians would have sat back and said, you know what, this probably politically isn't the best move for me to make. I should, probably run this through, a number of different advisors and think of a process of how I get rid of the head of the FBI. But Donald Trump's an executive. He analyzed it, and at the moment he made the decision, he pulled the trigger and fired Jim Comey. Consequences be damned. And I think that's what America voted for also in a politician, or in our president, is someone who wasn't a politician, someone who would be a business executive, who would do what they think. And that's what he does. And he's a fighter, and he's a scrapper. And so though I don't like what he said, because I think it minimizes his or goes against his effort to win in the courts, the tweets that he sent out, he's saying what he thinks. And I think America, a lot of them still love it.
Well, but I thought the gravity of the office of the presidency would humble him and make him have more responsible tweets because, they're talking about taking his phone away from him so that he stops tweeting or possibly having an attorney to vet his tweets before he hits the send button. Do you think that would be a good idea?
Maybe we have to turn his TVs off and take away his cell phone. So that has to be disconnect his cable. I think that the tweeting, to your point, Amy, has gone a little too far and can be counterproductive. But it's also a benefit because the president is able to get around a left-wing media that's trying to bash him at every corner. Taking the tweet against the mayor of London and running with it, or the whole Russia collusion thing that they've tried to run with. And the president is able to launch these bombs over them and directly to the American people. And I think that's a positive avenue for him to have. I think he should be more responsible, though, in his use of it.
Yeah, I think that's the key, right? It's the quality of the content, not the channel of communication. And he crowds out sometimes, exclamation points in all caps. He crowds out the reasonable discussion where in the wake of Saturday night and now in the last 24 hours, what we've learned about these 3 terrorist attackers say this is why we need a pause. You look at what happens when you don't properly vet people who are coming into your country, or you don't properly eject people who are in your country who mean to do you harm and have no right to be here. This is an example of why I'm talking about the pause as you properly described it. And that gets lost when you just say, travel ban, exclamation point.
Well, I think that's exactly right. However, the president is, I think, an emotional guy. And he's tapping into, I think the emotion that he feels towards what happened in London is the same emotion that a lot of Americans feel, that I want to be protected. I want someone to look out for me. I want to call this for what it is, which is, radicals who are taking, whether they're trucks or knives or machetes or guns, and killing innocent people. And I think that's why he was successful in the electoral process, was because he was channeling that anger. But I think this goes to Amy's earlier point. If you're going to be successful as a president, you have to use all of your tools. Twitter's not the only tool that you have, and you have to be a little more reflective in how you're using it. You're not at Trump Tower anymore. You're now at the White House, and those are two different locations with two different jobs and two different powers.
You mentioned
the power of the White House is.
Yeah. You mentioned the Comey firing, and of course Jim Comey going to appear before the Senate Intel Committee on Thursday. President declining to exercise executive privilege and preventing his testimony, which I think is the right decision. Mm-hmm. And what do you anticipate from Comey? Because I got to tell you, I think this is going to turn out to be like the Rachel Maddow blockbuster story about Trump's tax returns. In other words, a nothing burger. Because Comey's conflicted. If he claims obstruction of justice, then he implicates himself.
Dan, I totally agree with you. Now, he might walk through a process of how he maybe felt uncomfortable with the president, but I don't think he will go so far as to say the president was trying to pressure him, because you're right. The next question will be, well, why didn't you tell somebody? Why didn't you go to the Department of Justice? There's a protocol for you to walk through if this is happening to you from the president, and he didn't do those things. Number one, but number two, I think it goes back to this: the left is foaming at the mouth about this Russia collusion between Donald Trump and the Russians, and whether it was James Clapper, who's come out, the head of DNI, and said he has seen no evidence of collusion between Donald Trump and his campaign and the Russians, or Dianne Feinstein, who sits on the Intelligence Committee, the U.S. Senator from California, has come out and said there's no evidence. Everyone who has spoken publicly about this issue has said there's no evidence to show collusion, but yet we have 4 investigations going on into collusion between Donald Trump and the Russians. This doesn't make any sense, and I think you're going to hear tomorrow as well from, 2 days from now, on Thursday, from Comey, that there is also, he has no evidence of collusion between Donald Trump and the Russians. And I think this is, it'll be a nice more into the side of the Democrats who keep wanting to find some excuse as to why Hillary Clinton lost, other than the fact that she was a horrible candidate and her issues and her message didn't resonate with the American people.
Now, Democrats, of course, seem to be focused on Russian collusion. Republicans focus on leakers, and learning information this morning about the 25-year-old from Georgia, Reality Winner is her name, who leaked some information. Do you have any more information about this?
I don't. I have what you have. Maybe to step back, though, allegations of collusion with Donald Trump and the Russians is just that. It's an allegation from a political party. When you leak confidential, secret, top secret information, that's a crime. And we know those crimes are happening on a daily basis because we see this top secret information roll out on the front pages of our newspapers. And I think those who engage in that behavior, like this young contractor who released the NSA report, they should have the book thrown at them. They should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. We in our country have to put our Americans first, and this intelligence is critical to our security and our safety. And if we can't keep a certain amount of information secret, that hurts all of us. And those who do it, those who leak it, have to be made an example of.
Well, and hopefully her arrest will be a message to others that perhaps are similarly inclined or have been leaking information to the press previously. I want to...
But Dan, one other point. I think the question for a lot of us, we sit back and go, what the hell has taken so long?
Right.
I mean, come on. I mean, let's put this in high gear to start rooting out all those leakers. because it's like a sieve at the White House and at the State Department. They feel free to, put out all kinds of damaging information about the president that has no place in the public sphere.
But are you concerned that all of this, and it's legitimate, but the pursuit of leakers, the discussion of leaks from the intelligence community, the Democrats pursuing, along with Republicans as well, the Russian collusion investigations, wherever they will lead, plus the special counsel, and then the issue of the threat that ISIS poses in the West, that presidents and the Republicans' domestic policy agenda is dying on the vine, or at least starting to wither. You had Lindsey Graham say, not sure that Obamacare replace is going to get done this year. We don't exactly know where tax reform is at this point. Perhaps you can enlighten us on that. And then also specifically, since you're a member of the House Financial Services Committee, we also talk about the regulatory state. Where are we on the idea of repealing Dodd-Frank before the year is out?
Yeah, so this is all the $10,000 or $1 million question, whatever we're going to use this morning. And as you and your listeners know, the House of Representatives passed a health care reform bill. We've now sent it to the Senate. The Senate is, contorting and, squirming and trying to figure out how they now come together and get 50 to 51 votes to pass a health care reform bill. You heard Mitch McConnell last week come out and basically say kind of like what Lindsey Graham said, which was, not sure we're going to get this done. I think that Mitch McConnell is as sly as a fox, though. What he's doing and what Lindsey has done is, in essence, tell conservatives, to tell Republicans all across America who have heard Republicans for 8 years talk about how we are going to repeal and replace Obamacare, and tell them that it might not happen because of the Senate. What that does is it activates every single Republican who wants to see this done to call their senator's office. And in Illinois, you don't probably have a senator to call.
No,
you call a neighboring senator.
We'll call Ron Johnson.
Republican.
Yeah, right.
Call Ron Johnson. But that's what's going to happen. I think the Senate will get health care done because the outrage and blowback will be so great it will be untenable for them. So health care is going to get done out of the Senate. I truly believe that. But as you probably have talked about, we have to get health care done first to then get to tax reform. And tax reform is being worked on right now. Our parties and our houses are all working together behind the scenes because it's, this is complicated stuff to get a bill done between the House and the Senate. But the reason that health care has to go first is we're using this budget reconciliation rule in the Senate, which means you only need 51 votes, because in every other bill you need 60 votes because of the filibuster rule. Well, budget reconciliation is a way we can get legislation through with only 51 votes, but there's certain rules to it. And the rules on taxes are that the tax reform package has to be revenue neutral. So if you move one tax dial down, you have to move another tax dial up. Well, that doesn't get you very far, does it? You don't get to reform taxes. But if we do health care reform first, we get $1 trillion of Obamacare taxes that we get to move the tax dials down on.
Right.
Not only that, if we do the border adjustment tax, which has created a lot of controversy, this is a tax of 20% on imported goods. That's $1 trillion in revenue, and we get to move taxes down another $1 trillion. So if we do that, we're able to bring our corporate rates to 15 to 20%, and our individual rates probably to 30 to 33%. All really good stuff. I think that's also on track for a late fall or at least before the end of the year time frame. On tax reform, and again, right after.
And Sean, quickly before we got to go, but quickly on Dodd-Frank, is that going to be gone by the year's end?
So Dodd-Frank, thanks for asking that. It passed through our committee a couple weeks ago. This week on the House floor, Dodd-Frank repeal and replace and the Choice Act is going to be up. Now, it's going to then go to the Senate as well, and that's where you have Elizabeth Warren, who's going to be a great partner for us, I'm sure.
Yeah, right.
Dodd-Frank reform. But we're hopeful that the Senate can actually get a bill across their Senate floor, and we'll be able to go to a conference and at least lift some of the regulatory burden, at least offer small community banks and credit unions. So we're hopeful, we're optimistic, the glass is half full.
All right, very good. Thanks for the update on that. He is Congressman Sean Duffy, Republican congressman from the 7th District in Wisconsin, north of the Cheese Curtain there. Sean, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Dan, Amy, thank you for having me on, and also bring all you Chicagoites up to northern Wisconsin vacation. Spend a lot of money.
That's what we do. We're not just going on vacation there. We're moving there. Thanks for the call. Thanks, Sean. Take care.
Annie, join us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
If you're missing teeth or even a single tooth, dental implants are a fantastic way to regain your confidence, your smile, your dental health. Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. You hear a lot of people screaming at you about dental implants. Get it done in a day, or we can treat everybody, or hundreds of thousands of implants. Look, successful implants don't come from an implant factory. What you don't hear talked about is skill, treatment, and installation. These are what make for successful lifelong implants. And that's why you need to see Dr. Norouzi at Fox River Periodontics. Dr. Norouzi is the recommended choice of dentists that don't do implants. You need the experience, skill, and honesty that 24 years of dental implants brings.
This is Dr. Norouzi. I personally guarantee your happiness with your implants.
Call Fox River Periodontics, 630-232-7400, 630-232-7400, or just remember, implantsforme.com, implantsforme.com.
Hey, ChicagoRadioDeals.com is partnered with two amazing gun establishments to bring you a full curriculum of training classes. To the north in Lake Villa is Red Dot Arms, offering a Refuse to be a Victim seminar, which teaches basic skills for developing a strategy for your personal safety. Paired with a home and firearm safety course, this non-shooting class teaches you the safe handling and storage of firearms and ammunition in the home. Continue the training with an NRA basic pistol shooting class or the personal protection courses. Set your sights on all the deets of the deals that Red Dot Arms has to offer at ChicagoRadioDeals.com. To the south in Bolingbrook is the range at 355. This state-of-the-art shooting range features electronic targets and pure air filtration. Grab a deal for 12 hours of range time at $396 value for only $195, plus a 16-hour 2-day Illinois concealed carry class for only $100. Add pistol fundamentals and a small knife skills class, and you have all the bases covered. Find these Second Amendment deals and their details at ChicagoRadioDeals.com.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Do you know your bank's fraud tolerance? I'm Ann Dollagall, Treasury Management Executive. At Signature Bank, we have zero tolerance. While some of the big banks may write off smaller incidences of fraud, we use a multi-layered approach to fight fraud before it happens to our customers. There's been a record number of businesses hit with payments fraud this year. Keeping your business assets safe is our top priority. We are trained, and we will train you to recognize potential wire fraud threats and business email compromise scams. Call us today to find out how Signature Bank can work with your business to fight fraud.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Do you know that the time your children spend in school for 1 year is as much time as they will spend in church in over 5 years? Why would we want our children to be in a school that denies God and His truth? Christian Liberty Academy was founded in 1968 to provide a place that would affirm and strengthen what our children learn at home and in their churches. We have a great location in Arlington Heights, outstanding faculty and facilities, a strong biblical worldview emphasis, and an affordable tuition price compared to similar schools. We provide a comprehensive and accredited curriculum that will prepare your child for college and beyond. From preschool all the way through 12th grade, discover the positive difference that Christian Liberty Academy can make in their education and life. Schedule a personal tour today and get more information at ChristianLibertyAcademy.com or call 847-385-2013.
My name is David Hochberg, Vice President Lending at Pearl Mortgage. If you're purchasing a home, give me a call. A borrower called me after contacting the lender who boasts about having the lowest rates and closing costs because he thought my competitors' closing costs were excessively high. I compared loan estimates and the interest rates were identical, but our definitions of low closing costs were a lot different. Fact is, my closing costs were over $1,000 less than the lender claiming to have the lowest closing costs. When purchasing a home, you can either work with the lender, who talks and talks and talks and talks about low closing costs, or you can work with me, a lender who actually has low closing costs. Then think of all the things you could do with an extra $1,000 when we originate your loan, like pay for the movers, buy a new computer, new TV, maybe new carpet for your new house. I've helped thousands of AM 560 listeners, but I can't help if you don't call 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage, an equal housing lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage Licensee, 4358, and MLS 19186.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
I want to hear more about that scavenger hunt in Chinatown, I'll tell you that. But coming up at 8:38, we have our friend Bill Gertz, Washington Free Beacon senior editor and national security expert. We'll talk about that arrest of the NSA leaker when we talk to Bill Gertz.
But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
61 and sunny in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. Australian police this morning are calling a siege in Melbourne a terror attack. They're also confident the attacker acted alone. Police shot and killed a 29-year-old man after he killed a man and took a woman hostage in an apartment block. 3 police officers were wounded during the standoff. The man's family moved from Somalia to Australia when he was 3. Has a long history of violent crime. Actually was on parole for a home invasion 5 years ago. British police say all 12 who were arrested in the early hours after the weekend London Bridge attack have been released without charge. Meantime, investigators have released the identity of the third London Bridge attacker. He is Youssef Zagba. He's believed to have been of Italian national Moroccan descent. London's Metropolitan Police say the 22-year-old was not a subject of interest to them in Britain. The Kremlin is denying claims from a U.S. government intelligence report that Russian hackers may have attacked at least one U.S. voting software supplier before last year's presidential election. A classified NSA document was published online Monday by The Intercept. Egyptian officials say the diplomatic crisis between Qatar and its Gulf neighbors has yet to affect the 300,000 Egyptian workers in that tiny, energy-rich country amid fears they could be expelled or stranded. Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, and the United Arab Emirates severed diplomatic ties with Qatar on Monday. Bill Cosby's lawyers are proving quick to go on the attack as his sexual assault trial continues in suburban Philadelphia. High waves in the waters off Chicago and northwest Indiana, prompting a warning from the National Weather Service, not only for high waves, but for rip currents as well. Chicago police are questioning 2 after shots were fired at officers in the North Lawndale neighborhood overnight near 13th and South Troy. Chris Bryant, a 2-run home run in the first. Cubs go on to hang on to beat the Marlins 3-1 and hand the win to Eddie Butler. White Sox open a 3-game road set with the Rays this evening. The news a service of Napa Auto Parts. This month at participating Napa Auto stores, the easy-to-use AC Pro refrigerant with pressure gauge and quick connect hose, just $33.99. So keep your ride running longer, stronger, and cooler all summer long with AC Pro refrigerant. 8:33 is our time. We'll get a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher believes the Trump administration needs to fix the leak.
Let's take a moment to talk about these leaks, because there's somebody or bodies within the Trump administration who want to do him in. There's no question about this. It's felonious to leak a lot of the information that has been leaked to the media over the first few months of the Trump presidency.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Right now with Galaxy. Buy one cabinet, get one free. Visit us online at galaxyhome.com to schedule your free in-home estimate. Save an additional $500 when you book right now.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
It takes a lot of courage to face your own death, but I'm glad I finally did. See, I was putting off getting life insurance to protect my family, even though I knew it was important. Then my neighbor's husband died. I watched her struggle emotionally and financially. It really made me face reality. If my husband died, how would I pay the mortgage, the car payments, or keep up the life the kids and I had? I realized I needed to get us life insurance right away. So I called AIG Direct. In less than 5 minutes, I had a quote. I was shocked at how affordable it is. Just $14 a month for $250,000 of term life coverage. I feel so much better knowing my family has protection.
Call AIG Direct right now for a free no-obligation quote. The call takes less than 5 minutes, and you can save up to 70%. Call now, 1-800-500-3471. That's 1-800-500-3471. 1-800-500-3471.
8:35. Let's go ahead and check the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Michael. The Edens is lightening up inbound. It's 21 minutes from Lake Cook to Montrose, but outbound 40. The Kennedy, an hour from O'Hare to downtown. 37 minutes from Montrose, 28 in the Express. Outbound 48 minutes to Montrose, an hour 11 to the airport. The Eisenhower, it's an hour and 28 minutes from Thorndale to downtown, an hour and 6 minutes from Manheim, outbound an hour 11 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 22 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 45 minutes. Ryan, 30 minutes, 95th to the Loop. Southbound Lakeshore Drive, heavy Bryn Mawr to North Avenue, and 18th to the Stevenson, northbound Roosevelt to Jackson. Southbound Tri-State delays are from 132 to Bradley, from the Adams Tollway to the Irving Park Toll. Northbound Harlem to 31st, from the Reagan Tollway most of the way to the Adams Tollway. Adams Tollway tight lead to the Tri-State. Reagan Tollway, Farnsworth to Eola. Yackley to the Myers Toll and York to the Tri-State. Veterans Memorial delays are from Boughton, really most of the way to 290. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Mostly sunny, breezy, and pleasant today, a high of 74. We'll have a moonlit sky and 54 overnight. Currently 61. Next news coming up at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Secure Retirement Radio with host Raj Shah. Sunday mornings at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, Joe Walsh, coming up on the Joe Walsh Show tonight. What is with all this Trump is not presidential enough? I'm tired of this meme. We'll talk about it when Freedom returns at 5.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Mark Stein on Fox and Friends yesterday. He made an important point about symbols and how Islamists understand the importance of symbols. Maybe we don't so much. London Bridge being more than just a bridge.
I think that's actually a very good example, Ainsley, because they understand the symbolic power of it in a way that we don't. They understand that London Bridge isn't just some bridge across some crummy, dirty, muddy river. Right. It has symbolic power in the same way that, in a different sense, the Ariana Grande thing does. And they're serious. They've declared war on us. And we keep saying, no, you can declare war on us all you like. We're not treating it as a war.
Yeah, although from what Prime Minister Theresa May said on Sunday, maybe England is going to change their approach and treat it like there is this war. Now, just because they understand the power of symbols, of course, think the World Trade Center, doesn't mean that we can just protect iconic places and you won't have terrorist attacks, as we've seen Orlando nightclub, San Bernardino office party, the Nice market, et cetera. So there's just no simple solution to this. And some of what's been proposed from an American perspective, a bit concerning, from Theresa May's suggestion of greater regulation of the internet to Nigel Farage suggesting over the weekend, not that he's necessarily a proponent of it, but it wasn't a vociferous rejection, the idea that if England doesn't get more serious about it, you're going to hear public calls for the internment of the 3,000 Muslims who are on the watch list in England. That's going down a dark road for me. For more on this topic, we're pleased to be joined by our friend Bill Gertz, senior editor for the Washington Free Beacon and author of the book War and Peace in the Information Age. Bill, thanks for joining us.
Hi, good morning. Good to be on the show.
So let's start with kind of jumping off from some of the themes in your book, War. Theresa May's call for more stringent regulation of the internet, perhaps not only regulating particular sites working with or trying to impose their will on the Googles and the Facebooks, but going after pornographic sites that terrorists use as kind of a cover for communicating about terrorist activity, as well as even suggesting that providers, ISPs, push out counter-terrorism content that the government creates. From an American perspective, this concerns me greatly.
Yeah, well, this is a huge problem, and I outlined that in Iowa. We need to attack the ideology, and right now, the Trump trip to Saudi Arabia, we basically farmed that out to the Saudis, and they have a different strain of jihadism. It's not as violent as the ISIS and Al-Qaeda group, but I think it's time for debate. I think we really need to have a debate about how to deal with this problem. It's a religious problem. We're trying to pretend it's not a religious problem. It's cutting in the seams of our society where we allow free speech and freedom of religion, and the terrorists are exploiting it. So we need to figure out a way to go at this problem from the ideological standpoint. I think that's what these 3 attacks in 2 months show in London.
Well, what about, one of the 3 London terrorists, he was on a reality TV show, The Jihadist Next Door, and he was a proponent of Sharia law, and he even got kicked out of his mosque. So
it's unbelievable. I mean, there was intelligence. Both MI5, the domestic spy service, and Scotland Yard had this guy on their radar, and they were ill-equipped under the laws and even under intelligence mandates to deal with the threat. I mean, you had this guy in a documentary bowing to the jihadist black flag of ISIS. In the FBI, they used to call that a clue.
So let's put this in an American context. If that terrorist, Amy was just describing, if he had done all of that on American soil and was here as legally, was in this country legally, what could and should law enforcement do to prevent him from doing what he ultimately did in London?
That's a good question, because right now we have laws that protect free speech and freedom of religion, and until someone commits a violent act, we can't take action against them. So that's what I'm saying. We need a debate to figure out how to deal with this problem. If the Muslim community, which is dealing with these extremists within their community, is not going to do it, then we have to figure out a new way to approach the problem, because it did happen here in the Orlando shooting and the San Bernardino attacks. They were on the radar of local authorities and the FBI, and we were unable to prevent them from taking that deadly step of killing all of those people.
What do you think of President Trump kind of, having a Twitter war with Mayor Khan, the first Muslim mayor in London, it's saying, starting by saying there's no reason to be alarmed?
Yeah, the president is he's out there on Twitter, and that's his vehicle of choice to get his message out. In fact, he sent out a tweet today defending his ability to circumvent what he considers the fake media to get his message out there. So he's obviously trying to tackle this issue based on his immigration policies. He's promoting his ban on people coming from terrorist-related countries. So that's probably what's behind that, I think.
Is there, we talked to David French earlier in the show, and he suggested that part of the failure generally is we're not essentially being more aggressive militarily with respect to ISIS and other elements of radical Islamic terror. Is that an opinion you share?
No, actually, the reports I'm getting is that we are getting ready. We're squeezing ISIS in both Iraq and Syria, and that's creating leakage. They're starting to set up networks into Europe, support networks, to be able to do more of these kinds of attacks that we saw in London. So, but overall, it's not. There's not a military solution to the problem. We'll be able to kick ISIS out of its key strongholds of Raqqa and Mosul. It's taking a long time because of the local forces having problems, but ultimately it's going to be an ideological solution. We've got to attack the ideology in a serious way, just like we did during the Cold War against communism. The Reagan administration had the tools, we can adapt those to attack Islamic extremism the way that the Reagan administration went after Soviet communism.
Let me ask you this question about an asset that we still have. It's called Gitmo, but it's not just a physical location, it's an approach to this. So thinking about the terrorist that was in that documentary and is also connected to a radical imam out of Dearborn, Michigan, as well as connected to associates of the 7/7, one of the 7/7 bombers. Can we designate these individuals as enemy combatants and hold them under those auspices?
Yeah, that's a tough problem. I was never a fan of Gitmo. I mean, under our system, we just don't have the ability to do that, and it's just again, it just creates opposition and division within our society. They need to figure out a different method to do that. If it's war, these are combatants. Then you deal with them as a war. If it's something less than war, then you have to deal with the legal issues. So, yeah, I don't have a good solution for what to do about Gitmo, but under our system, it's not a good thing.
Now, late yesterday afternoon, we learned that a contractor has been charged with leaking classified NSA information on Russian hacking. What do you know about this case?
Well, I saw the report in The Intercept. It's clear that this online outlet, which was set up after the Edward Snowden disclosures of NSA, got this document and took it to the NSA or an NSA contractor, and they were able to trace the origin of the document. My question is, the CIA director a couple of months ago gave a speech where he described some of these groups as similar to hostile intelligence services. In other words, they send agents out to join organizations. My question is, could this 25-year-old woman who was arrested in Augusta, Georgia, have been dispatched by The Intercept to try to penetrate the NSA and get this kind of material? I guess we'll have to wait till that story unfolds further.
We spoke with Congressman Sean Duffy from Wisconsin earlier in the show, and his reaction to Miss Winner's arrest was finally seeming to indicate, we've been talking about leaks coming from the intelligence community, illegally disseminating classified information. Boy, they happened upon Miss Winner very quickly. Is there more that could and should be done to plug other leaks within the intelligence community?
Well, as a reporter, I make my living off of leaks, so
right.
I'm not a big proponent of going after these people. However, I think it's reached dangerous levels with a lot of the anti-Trump disclosures that have come out, specifically about our communications intelligence. That's kind of what the House Intelligence Committee is zeroing in on. They just issued subpoenas. Half of them were for the Russia investigation, and the other half were to look at who ordered the unmasking of Americans captured in highly classified communications intercepts. And those three people were John Brennan, the former CIA director, Susan Rice, the former national security advisor, and a new name, Samantha Power, the former UN ambassador. So clearly they're zeroing in on some of these Obama people who may have leaked sensitive information as part of some type of political spying operation.
All right. He is Bill Gertz, senior editor for the Washington Free Beacon, author of the book I War and Peace in the Information Age. Bill, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate your insights.
Great. Thanks very much.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up next, it's the latest fashion craze for men.
I finally have something to wear when my rompum is in the wash.
First, here's your forecast. Plenty of sunshine today. Breezy, pleasant, a high of 74 degrees. Tonight, as you've been hearing all day, we're going to have a moonlit sky. So if you're a stargazer, have fun. And the next 2 days look picture perfect. We're going to have plenty of sunshine and temperatures in the mid to upper 70s. Let's get into our alarm detection systems traffic center. I'm sure he doesn't have on a rompum, or does he? Here's Jim Telemonte.
Sure hope not. I'm not sure what it is, Andy.
White lace shorts?
It doesn't sound like my kind of thing.
And you're inbound Kennedy, Amy. It's heavy starting around Foster. You're looking at an hour from O'Hare to downtown. 44 minutes from Montrose, 39 in the Express. Outbound 59 minutes downtown to O'Hare. Eden's getting better, 21 minutes Lake Cook to Montrose, but outbound still heavy at 40 minutes. Inbound Ike, an hour and 20 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 56 minutes. Stevenson, an hour and 12 minutes, 3:55 to the drive. Outbound 41 minutes. The Ryan is 30 minutes from 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound, stop and go from the Adams Tollway to the Irving Park Toll. Northbound, Harlem to 31st. And from the Reagan Tollway most of the way to the Adams Tollway. Still pretty heavy as well on the Reagan and Veterans Memorial. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Hey, you've heard how Automated Systems excels at assisting companies with systems integration and FDA compliance. But they're also a staffing leader. They supply handpicked elite leadership, subject matter experts, and proven technical professionals in engineering, quality control, and FDA compliance to support the life sciences field in executing mission-critical projects. ASI provides highly specialized pros to deliver projects on time and budget. Don't pay a lot more to a big consulting firm, and don't trust the big temp agencies to supply the talent you need. Call Laz, my friend Laz at Automated Systems, when failure isn't an option. ASI is retained by all of Chicagoland's Fortune 500 life sciences companies, from big pharma to startups, and excel through a culture of excellence in execution. For a staffing, compliance, or automation evaluation, call Laz now at Automated Systems at 844-HIRE-ASI or visit AutomatedSYS.com. That's 844-HIRE-ASI or AutomatedSYS.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be, well, like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter is different. It doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them. With its powerful technology, ZipRecruiter distributes your job everywhere it needs to be to find the right candidates. In fact, over 80% of jobs on ZipRecruiter get a qualified candidate in just one day. So, while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, only ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
Used by businesses of all sizes, ZipRecruiter offers the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. And right now you can try ZipRecruiter free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/work. That's ZipRecruiter.com/work for your free trial. ZipRecruiter.com/work.
What if you could enjoy total peace of mind when it comes to home security? What if the best technology came from a local company who puts the customer's needs first? Alarm Detection Systems is the right choice for an alarm system with complete control from your phone or tablet. Know when your children arrive home from school. View live streaming video. Check up on your pets. Receive alerts for extreme temperatures. Know if leaks or floods have been detected. Get real-time text alerts sent to your phone. Family-owned and operated since 1968, Alarm Detection Systems understands that nothing is more important than the safety of your family. Your security system will be monitored by our central station in Aurora, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Alarm Detection Systems is an authorized Honeywell equipment dealer. Our on-site security consultation is always free. Visit adsalarm.com or call 630-844-6322. That's 630-844-6322. Alarm license number 127000143.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. I went from being able to work 14, 16 hours a day with no problem to where I could barely walk a block to the store. I went on to the phytonutrients about 6 months ago, and within a couple of months, my medical doctor had cut my prescriptions down in a little bit smaller dosage. The next time I went back a month later, I walked into the doctor's office and he says, "My gosh, what's happened to you? You don't even look like the same person." He looked at my legs and the swelling had gone down. My blood pressure was down. The venous stasis ulcers that I had had on my legs for the last 4 or 5 years because of the poor circulation were all healed, and I'm feeling far better.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free. And we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. I'll tell you what.
I'm
this
concerned.
Is great news that lace underwear or shorts, but I think they're versatile, they're in this summer, and it's about time. Also, the people who think that the people who don't like men wearing lace shorts, like the gals wear, they're not being particularly progressive.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now it's wrong that we don't want you to wear our clothes that were designed for us. Men shouldn't be allowed to walk around in white lace shorts. I saw him this weekend. I was at the Chicago Rowing Club. My son, Peyton, is a rower, and a lot of the ladies had on the white lace shorts. It's a nice look. It's, cool, crisp summer look.
Well, and
I got to go get me a pair, but I'm not getting you a pair too, Dan.
Perhaps,
so back off.
Perhaps you want to revise and extend your remarks when you hear that Charles Wang, none other than Charles Wang.
The Charles Wang
praised fashion designers for rejecting the idea clothes need to be gender specific. You don't like lace shorts? Don't wear them. But please keep your borderline homophobic and downright boring gender rules to yourself because the world is passing you by, Miss Jacobson.
Oh, I should be more open-minded about men wearing clothes designed for women.
Now, the only question I have, this is a fashion question for you, is can I wear my meggings over my lace shorts?
No, you wear your meggings underneath your lace shorts.
Oh, I see.
Get it right, Dan. Don't just get it on. Well, you have a stylist at Nordstrom's that helps you out.
Yep. She picks out all my rompums.
Well, is she going to pick? Do you think she'll bring out some white lace shorts and a rompum?
Well, I've got like the Sean Connery James Bond rompum.
That's not a bad look.
See? Yeah.
Because if you look, if you Google image rompums, you will see 007 in a rompum.
You'll see 007. And then the rest of the male pictures of men walking around in rompums, in case you don't know what it is, a romper, I didn't. But the rest of the pictures are guys at Wrigley Field. So there's Sean Connery from 50 years ago.
I didn't want you.
And then there's everybody, all the dudes at Wrigley Field, having a good time, putting a little fur coat over the rompum, having a beer, yucking it up with friends.
On a rooftop, yes, thank you.
They got the sunglasses with the the blue streaks.
It's awful. When I saw that, and then I tried to hide the screen so that you wouldn't see that they were at Wrigley. Like, no, nothing to see here. But the rompums that are in, not in the pastel colors, I'm not into that, but they're the darker with a herringbone pattern. Now that's kind of manly. That one's growing on me.
Yeah, that's classy. You know what?
So what size do you wear, Dan? Because I'll wear my rompum. I wore my rompum last night, but I have a halter rompum that I just love. It's very comfortable.
Maybe I'll break it out. I mean, it is June. It's rompum season.
Summer's here, really.
June 15th is our golf outing.
I've got a golf rompum. This one's got a collared shirt. This is perfect for you.
Yeah.
I'm sure the foursome that paid to have you golf with them is going to love your rompum.
It's going to turn it into a onesome.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Why choose Kubota and Associates to handle your retirement? Well, because we provide objective advice and concierge service, investments, insurance, retirement planning, all at one location. We also partner with qualified attorneys and CPAs to provide complete financial strategies for our clients. We use a variety of investment and insurance products to custom design retirement plans that can give clients a clear look at their future. We help you stay on the path toward financial independence. If you don't want to do it yourself and you want to work with a team to create a financial strategy for your future, give us a call. 630-777-7955. That's 630-777-7955. Would you rather get retirement advice from some TV show host who doesn't know anything about you, or Kubota and Associates? 630-777-7955. Kubota and Associates is a registered investment advisory firm. Jack Kubota is an investment advisor representative and insurance professional. Investing involves risk, including the possible loss of principal. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
AM 560, The Answer.
Now the jean rompum's growing on me. I think you'd look good in that.
I could look like Farrah Fawcett.
Stop it. You have to get your hair done. Thanks so much for making us part of your morning. Thanks to Justin Kosick. Thanks, who's our technical director, by the way. Keith Conrad, who's our executive producer. And we'll see you back here tomorrow morning, bright and early at 5 a.m. Have a wonderful day. Now let's go into the newsroom and say good morning to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, here are the stories we're watching right now. Two are being held in Chicago